All right, I'm recording. All right, guys, what's up?
What's going on?
Hey.
I'm mad
How's
at my
you?
background. I just want to say that on camera,
Dude,
on
it's fine,
recording.
man.
I'm mad at my background. You guys look great.
You
Gonna
know,
say it.
It's fine.
you know those Zoom backgrounds where you could just like make it. You should do that.
You're like underwater or in space.
Yeah, man, there
Yeah,
you go.
I'm gonna try. So when my background's changing while we're talking, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to
You should
keep it
do
together.
that.
Motherfuckers. Say,
I,
change it.
Neil, I remember you told me to get a camera, and I didn't, and now I'm regretting it.
No, it looks actually just squaring up with your wall.
Mhm.
It
Right.
elevated your game.
But
Exactly.
I want the
Yeah.
fade in the background,
Mm.
like what you
Uh,
got going on.
You know what?
yeah.
I think I was telling Mike this, but I think that's they have webcams do that too. I think like a blurry-ish background. I don't know how
Yeah.
good they are, but I think webcams can do that too.
My webcam makes everything blurry, so
Even
Got
in
the
the
full-
front.
I got the full blur effect.
I don't need a filter, bro. Yeah. All right. Wait, are you gonna change, Mike? Or are you?
No, I'm just gonna leave it now. It would take me 30 minutes to get set up to get looking like you guys.
All right. So I sent out the topic today. We're just gonna go over. We're calling it relationship retrospective. This is kind of like a practice that we do in software development. I'm pretty sure Dana, you're probably familiar with this. I don't know if you are, Neil. If they have it in your practice,
Nope.
but it's kind of like reflecting on what happened and kind of what you would change and do to make it better. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna explore different parts of relationships that have been impactful in our lives, whether it's romantic, career, or anything day to day, right? So that's kind of what we're gonna cover. We all good with that?
Yep.
Sure.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
So I guess I'll start it off with kind of what I want to get everyone to think about relationships for right now. There was these terms that I came across. They actually came up from our talk, Mike, when we were talking about on the phone about relationships.
Mhm.
The idea of ecological relationships. There's mutualism. I gotta look it up. Commensalism and parasitism. Parasitism. Is that it? How do you say that? Yep, that's how you say it. So mutualism is both people benefit from this relationship. Commensalism is when one party benefits from that relationship. And then parasitism is when only one benefits and the other is kind of like harmed, right? So, I mean, does those type of boundaries make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
Well, Mike and I have kids, so we know what relationship.
Go on.
Yeah. What kind of
The
relationship?
first one, of course.
Oh yeah, mutualism. Yep. Nah, I hear you. It can definitely be thinking about kids, but I don't even know how you do that, to be honest with
Me
you.
neither, man.
Yeah, with kids, it's like you don't benefit in a way that you would think, right? So
Exactly.
you benefit by like learning that different kind of parental love kind of thing, right? Like when I cook for the kids, like that makes me happy now. Like seeing them say, "Oh, so good," my stomach's full, blah blah blah. That is the kind of stuff that makes me happy. Or seeing them when I give them kudos or something like that and they skip off, you can tell when they're, because kids don't really have that filter that we've learned to kind of say, yeah, that's great, thanks, right? But if they're happy, they'll tell you they're happy, and if they're not, they're going to tell you they're not. So I think I don't know, I guess that's still what you call it, environmental? No,
Mutualism.
mutual.
Yeah, I feel like that's mutual because you benefit from like the emotions you get from it. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
So then I guess I do want to ask, do you think you mentioned that they don't have the filter, so they can say what they want to say. Do you think that should be something that we practice more as adults, or do you think there's like a need for that type of filter as you grow up?
I guess it depends on the context, right? Like at work, if somebody pisses me off at work, I don't want to immediately just say, you motherfucker, you know, this and this and that, and go off on them, right? So it you do need some kind of filter if you have to be professional. But I think with at least what I'm trying to do lately with any kind of romantic relationship is there's still a filter, but it's like more like a transparency, right? So if I say you have a 24-hour rule, right? If I do something that pisses you off, you have like 24, maybe 48 hours to say something about it. Outside of that, it's gone. Like, don't come back 3 years later talking about, well, remember that one time on December 27th, 1997, and you did this shit to piss me off? Like, I call that hopping in a DeLorean, right? Like, don't jump in the DeLorean and go back to the past to like bring up some shit I did 20 years ago. That's not fair, right? So, yeah, it just depends. It just depends on the context or the situation, I guess.
Gotcha. I mean, that
I
makes...
also
Okay.
I also feel like it's like adding on to what you said, Mike. I think it's important to be transparent, but I think the thing you learn in adulthood is like how you say it, because people will remember how you said it more than what you said.
Right.
So it's like it's an art of like how you approach it and learning how they communicate, because each person is different.
Right.
And so it's like getting that message across in their language. So then, because it like in my earlier 20s, I would just be all out like oh blah blah blah, like just getting all mad and not like registering. Like at the time, it felt good to like get mad at the time, but then that person's gonna like remember like she just like goes off like this, and like we can't talk about it because I'm afraid of pissing her off. But really, I was just communicating like I was mad at the time and like that shouldn't have happened, that kind of thing. So it's really like trying to get the message across while still not like creating more issues.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I was definitely on that boat too at work. For sure. Man, like it really is hard though, especially when like the stakes are high and there's so much pressure around. Like, the thing that pisses me off more is when people tell me to like calm down when I'm already calm, and it's
Right.
or when I'm already angry,
Right.
and it's just like you need to stop. You need to stop telling me to calm down. Just let me air it out. But yeah, I agree. When you get older, it's not necessarily that you shouldn't have a filter. It needs to be more refined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At least you don't have like the angry black man kind of thing that they throw at. Like, as soon as I get upset, it's like, oh, you got the angry black man thing. I'm like, dude, like, you don't know, like, you've never really seen me angry. You just see me like play angry, right? Like, I'm at work, I really don't care. If I was really mad, then it'd be something different. So I totally get what you're saying. Like, when people are like, man, calm down, I'm like, yo, come on.
Yeah.
I'm just playing. Don't tell me, don't act like you have to control me or I'm out of control. All right.
That's hard too. My I have a black coworker, and she sends me emails that she's like, I'm afraid of coming off like the angry black lady, and she sends me emails to read just to make sure like it's not coming off that way. And it's like dang, man, like that sucks to have to like do that all the time.
Yep.
But yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, I have to do the same thing, like Mark, with this our old scrum master, right? I have to say, hey man, read this, make sure I'm not like sounding like I'm too pissed off or I'm pointing the finger at somebody. Just proofread it. I do that. So and it's just because people are so quick to throw that at me, even though I'm probably the person that smiles the most in the entire organization, so I don't understand. But it's just a stereotype that whatever.
It's like underlying subconscious biases that bubble up.
Yep.
Yeah, I would call, like, going back to the refinement thing, I would like the refinement of how you approach a topic. I've called it emotional constipation. Because it's like I have to like push down all of my feelings and then just say it very blankly and like straight up, and then just be like, okay, I said what I needed to say. I didn't say it angrily. I said it matter of fact, like factually, and then you just can do it from there. But I just remember feeling so emotionally constipated, like, dang, man, like I wish I could like actually express how I felt, but over time, it's just like, you just realize that it's like not worth it to just like get mad, or like, it just is also emotionally draining on yourself as well to like express your feelings that way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, what do I call them, companies out there. They're like, oh, we want you to be, was the initiative Radical Candor? We want you to be open. We want you to say what's on your mind. And then you do it, and they're like, they get upset. And you're like, oh, you can't say that. And I'm like, you literally just told me to speak your mind.
Yeah.
And now I am. You're saying it's okay, and now you're getting all feeling hurty, and then it affects your performance, and then the perception of people, or perception of you for other people, are like lower. And you're like, you asked me to do this. I was apprehensive to do this, and now I did it. And now you're like, who are you? Now you're just like outcasting. You're like, this is why people don't talk. This is why this is actually part of the reasons why I want to talk about relationships in general, because it's not necessarily just people need to be open more, but people who ask people to be open more need to understand what that actually means.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why I want to ask about the filter too, because once you start dropping filters, people start seeing closer to who you are, and they might not like it.
Right.
And that scares them for some reason. But it's like, this is what you want, though. You want that kind of open dialogue. You don't want the emotional constipation that Dana's referring to. But
yeah, that's why I think go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, people aren't willing to, deal with the consequences of what they're asking. Going back to that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Or sometimes go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, that's why I kind of make my whole persona at work is like the ragey dude, right? But at least it's fun, right? Like, it's a fun rage, right? Like, so dude's like, hey, this is not broken. I post a gif of like a dude throwing a chair across the backyard, right? Like, or flipping the desk over, but at least it's fun, right? Like, I try to at least make it fun, and that seems to kind of reduce the that angry persona a little bit, at least.
Yeah.
What about you, Neil? Any gripes with your work? Are you all good? Maybe it's because all three of us come from a certain area of work.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I mean, like, I'm stressed out. Like, my wife would know, but I'm stressed out beyond relief right now. But I think with the job that I'm doing, I'm happy with the work that I'm doing. So, I wouldn't leave this job for anything, even though right now I'm going through a lot of like serious BS. So, so I'm content with that, so I think that's why it doesn't really bother me at the end of the day. And then it's temporary, it's up and down. When whatever I'm going through right now is over, then I'll have a little bit of, easy time, and then it'll happen again. It's always up and down. But I think the difference, like what you're saying, Mark, is with me, the overall job that I'm doing, I'm happy with. So, but I'm the same thing with the emotional constipation. And I think I've always been that way at work. I kind of just, I don't say anything. Maybe I should more, but I typically don't. So that's kind of, how I'm at work. And it might be because it's government, you kind of just have to do it. You don't have questions, or, you can't do it anything a different way. So I think that's part of it too. But yeah, I'm kind of a suppressive type, in terms of the frustration, but working at home is easy because I could let it out here.
I don't think, you actually,
so I can let it out here, on my own, and no one has to see it. So
that's actually a really good point. I didn't even realize that. I mean,
working from home helps, man. It lets everyone deal with their emotions on their own.
It's like at my
we don't have to suppress it at work.
Yeah, at my other job, I'd like there would be, if something made me that angry to the point where I needed to yell, like I couldn't. I had to hold it in. Now I'm just pissed off, like raging face the whole day, and people are like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what's wrong with me? Did you not just hear what happened?" But then you're right. Like here, I can just scream all I want.
Yep, I yell it out, like literally.
Yeah. I'll find myself yelling at my computer sometimes, like, "How could you do that? What are you doing?"
Yeah, man. Me and my wife do that all day long. And it's bad because she's like 2 floors up and I'm 2 floors down, right? So when we hear each other, then we know it's like a bad day.
But it actually is pretty relieving. Like,
It is.
like,
No, it is, yeah. And I never thought about that till just
Yeah.
now. Like the mental health aspect of working from home, just being able to vent,
yeah.
and not have to go like in the parking lot or something to do it,
Yeah.
or in your car and close the door.
I'm gonna use that as a case for why we should.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that in
Yeah,
the back of my head when I have to defend myself when they start trying to make us go back.
Yep.
You guys are so politically correct. Like, I'll just be mad at work and say it
Yeah.
and tell people, like, but I don't know
Yeah.
how what the difference is, right? Like,
Well, I'll be mad at work too, but I won't be. I'll be, what do you call it? Professionally mad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what you mean, like mad, but like, yeah, I get mad too, but people know it, but they don't really know it because I'm not
Yeah.
really showing myself. Yeah. So
I think
but I hear you.
Go ahead.
I think the worst thing is having to be mad, but then being like in a meeting, like, like, you have to really act.
Oh my god. So they always tell us to I probably shouldn't say it. Hopefully no one that works sees this, but like they always tell us to share our video, or they wanted to always have us share our video, and I'm like, I can't, because sometimes people will say things and I'm just like, what? Why did you say that? What are you like? My space will say everything. I could be muted and then they see my face and like, this guy is probably like screaming his ass off right now.
You'll be on camera just like,
Exactly.
but you're on mute.
It's like you said. Man, now I'm looking at like not most, but like a couple of days where I'm just like pacing around going, why? What are you doing? That's so crazy. Why would you even think that? But
Right.
yeah,
that's funny.
especially being like in a leadership type of position where you ask people to do things and delegate things, or some random dude comes in from left field because he got hired and now he thinks he's the new guy in town, and you're like, great job.
Thanks for
Right,
your
but you-
input.
Right, exactly.
That's really great.
We're gonna put this right on the refrigerator for everyone to see.
Yeah, so that makes it super difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a meeting. There's a girl at work that likes to boss people around, and I was leading a meeting and she just kept saying like, Dana, if you do that, like you should do this, or Dana, go ahead and do that, as if she was like my boss. And my boss was on the phone and he called me afterwards, and the way I responded was like, oh, thanks, it's really great input. Thanks. Or oops. Or whatever. Hopefully she doesn't find this podcast. But
I can believe it. I can believe that. I can believe
but
that.
I'll be like, oh, that's really great. And like literally was like, why are you acting like you're my boss? And my boss called me afterwards and he was like, I like how you handled that. Like I could tell you were really frustrated. And I was so fake on the call. I was like, great, thanks, blah, blah, blah. Like that's so great. Like the more frustrated I felt, the more like eager I sounded for her input, which it's like the only way I could like not sound angry on the call in front of all these people. But yeah.
Yeah, that's funny, because and then maybe like when I'm hearing you guys talk about how you handle things, maybe I'm like, maybe I need to change how I do it, because if some dude at work is like, yeah, Mike, so why don't you go ahead and do that? I'm like, don't try to pass work off to me. You can go do it, and so maybe that's why I'm not a manager.
But see, that's the problem though. Like working with you, I actually appreciated that, because you knew what was going on right up front. There's no guessing into what Mike Agee is thinking. This is what he's thinking. So now every single time, like, cool, I can work with this. Yeah. Or people who are like you, Dana, not to pick on you, but like, thanks for the input. If I don't catch the underlying tones behind that, I'm gonna be like, my boss loves me. Wants all my input. Here you go. Here's all these ideas and suggestions, and now like you've created a monster. Like,
yeah, I mean that's the hard
yeah.
part, where it's like,
Yep.
I don't know if her EQ isn't catching that I like really dislike her, and she's like, well, I'm just gonna keep doing this, and it's like, I gotta find some other way to like cut her off.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. That's definitely
Yeah.
the hard part. Because
Yeah.
it's, I don't know. Perception is always difficult to deal with. Like, I don't know. It's, I just wish I'd learned this in school, going back
Yeah.
to school. But like, it's hard because like, how do you even teach that, right? Like, how do you show people like, hey, here's the 50 bajillion combinations of relationships and how you should address every one. It's like,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
One relationship I want to hear about it because you've mentioned it in the in our agenda that we were talking about today, and then you
Mhm.
mentioned it earlier today. But what's this relationship with the cup stuff, man?
cup. Oh yeah. No, I mean, so what's it called? What's her name? Marie Kondo, right?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
So she does a really good, has a really good idea of kind of like attaching emotion to objects and
yeah.
kind of treating them.
You memorialize something
Yeah.
before you let it go. Well,
Yep.
in her instance, she's trying to get rid of everything. So you like memorialize it
Yep. So
and say
that's,
thank you before you
yeah.
let it go.
I mean, if you look at the cup, right? For us, every now and then, we're just like, it's just a cup. But what does it do? It's giving you liquid to drink, right? It's actually really, really helpful to you, but you don't see it like that, right? So you don't really appreciate it as much as you probably should, because otherwise there's no way for you to drink this liquid. Like you gotta like lap it up off the table or something, right?
Like a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean-
just like a
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
off the wall idea of like usually when I hear about relationships, it's always about romantic relationships, right? But
Mhm.
to the other extreme, like you could talk about a relationship with a cup and it can teach you how to like value like other things and people. Like consider that this simple object in your life that you look and use day to day, you never say thank you to, lets you drink. And like nothing else can do that. Well, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Effectively.
Like, see, my thing is, so all the things that I buy, all the things that I have, all the things that I've accumulated, I appreciate, right? So I consider that as some sort of relationship. The only thing that kind of happens with me is when I see someone treating something I own, in a manner that I don't appreciate, it kind of, I stand up to defend it. Like, why
Yeah.
are you doing that on my couch? Or
Yeah.
why are you slamming my
Yep.
car door like that? It doesn't need to be slammed that way, right? So then
Yep.
that ends up becoming a thing, and some people don't like that, but I'm just like, it's because I appreciate my things. I do have a relationship with the things that I use every day, and because of how I treat the things I own, they last for a very long time, right?
Yep.
So I guess it's a different, some people will call that materialistic or something, but I don't know.
Nah, man, you just like your cup. No, but yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of people disassociate stuff, right? So like relationships with people is different than relationships at work, different than relationships with like, your car, and they categorize it as if they're separate things. But
Mhm.
the way I've been looking at lately is like, it's really all the same thing. A relationship is a relationship. The ways you appreciate your cup, as we keep going back to, is kind of the same ideas that you appreciate your spouse or your significant other. It's the same idea, but
Right.
people
Like
just don't want to hear that.
yeah, like everything has a default appreciation and respect, right?
Yep.
Like everything gets that, and then based on the relationship that grows from when you first interact with that thing, it becomes something else. So and I think that's at least how I take it, right?
Yeah.
So even when there's like a bug in the house, unless it's some bug that like is a predator or is going to bite me or something like that, I will generally try to save it and like, go live your life here. I caught you in a cup, like go outside and go back, and but like I just consider that a default kind of respect for just everything around me.
Yeah.
On the flip side of it, though, I've recognized when things are parasitic, on the topic that you brought up, and like needing to cut things off too, whether it be objects or people. But For example, if something I haven't used for a long time is taking up so much space, and
Right.
space is valuable real estate in my apartment, it's like, you're parasitic to me, you're taking up space, you need to get cut off. But same thing with people. If you're like, if they're sucking energy or like mental space from you and you're not benefiting from it, cut them off. But I recognize it's like both things, where it's, you can have objects or people in your life and you benefit from it, or there's no, benefit or parasitic relationship, or there could be things sucking out of you. And it's like, I don't need that in my life. Like, bye.
Right. Yeah. I often can like kind of relate that to like a flow of like a life cycle, right? So if I have something in my life that's no longer needed, then I can remove that to allow space for something else to either take its place or maybe just not anymore, right? So, and that, I think that goes with things as well as people.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, you only have a limited capacity of like, I forget what it's called, brain capacity. I don't know, of like throughout your day, and then like when you sleep, you kind of recharge it. So yeah, this idea of relationships is the idea of you want to remove as much of the parasitic relationship out of your life. Like that's the communalism one is okay, like where you benefit and the other person doesn't benefit. That's okay. It's not necessarily what you really want. I think we should all try to get that mutualistic relationship as the majority, but realistically, that's really hard to do, especially in today's day and age where everything is basically a competition. You know what I mean? Everyone's competing to do something in some way, whether or not you realize it. So, but as long as you remove that parasitic relationship, and you don't necessarily even have to get rid of it, but trying to either like do some mental gymnastics to turn into a non-parasitic relationship would even benefit, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
Doing that in your job, where if your job is like sucking the life out of you, then maybe you don't report that you're sleeping for like 30 hours of the 40-hour work week. So it's like, now it's communalism, not parasitism.
Right. Because it's like,
not that I'm doing that.
No one asked.
Oh man, I hope my job doesn't find this one.
they play it for you in the
in his exit interview.
Yeah.
This is you, right?
I can't tell because the background is different, but that's you, right?
Could use a blurry background though.
Oh yeah.
Because like with the parasitic stuff though, you can as long as you understand that it's parasitic, right? So it's like jumping in hot lava, but you only do it for a second, like it's burning, but you get what you need out of it and then like jump out, and you only deal with it when you know you need that, like you can still sort of benefit from a parasitic relationship, but I think it's more of like it's the toxic ones that have to be removed under any circumstances, right? Like no matter how you try to figure it out, like you don't get any benefit from interacting with this person, and not only do you not benefit, they benefit from you, and it hurts you while they benefit from you. Like that just has to go, right? But sometimes when it's somebody that may be like in your family or very close to you, that I won't say it, you can't really get rid of them because you're stuck with them for life. So that's a difficult situation within itself.
Yeah, that's why I said like the practice of getting rid of like that parasitic relationship, that's not the only option. Trying to convert it to something else. I mean, it's like you said, that's really, really difficult, but as long as you're aware of it and you can kind of start, like the reason why I like relating things to random topics that don't necessarily correlate 100% is because it allows me to Google, right? So how do you deal with parasites from a biological level? You can start to see some parallelisms with how you do that on a relationship level. But it takes a bit, and you seem like you're a crazy person when you talk about it. They're like, what? So I need antibiotics to deal with this. Like, no.
So
It's
that
jealous.
conversation that you said, you remember the conversation I had where it's like I felt like I was getting a bunch from the conversation, and then in the end I gave something back, but you said basically I got played. Mark,
Yeah.
you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Were you saying
Yeah.
that was a parasitic situation?
Yeah. Or wait, what was the conversation?
Remember, it was like, oh, here's this new thing that you haven't heard of. Here's this new tool that you haven't heard of. Here's
Mhm.
this, here's what I'm doing. Here's my current status of all the things. And I was taking that as motivation. Like, oh
Mhm.
shit, like, thank you for resetting my, like recalibrating my current thought process of where I'm going, right? Because you show me all these things that I'm like, that's right, I do need to be doing that. And when I talked to you, I was like, man, I'm smarter than this, Mike. Mark, I'm smarter than what I'm doing right now. This dude is doing all this shit, and I need to like remember that I wanted to do all that stuff. But in the end, it was like you said, I gave him opportunity, and that was like his only reason for
Oh
giving me
yeah,
this.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's one of those, it's kind of borderline, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to be general so I don't have to say any names
Yeah,
or name any
yeah.
topics.
It's borderline. It's borderline. It's one of those like you can see it either or. It depends on the intent, and you can only know by asking. But yeah, it's
But
like
you said you had to be selfish. You said that it made sense because you have to be selfish. So I would like you to kind of mention that here.
you put me on.
You guys are confusing me. I have no idea.
I
what
know.
you
I'm
guys are
trying.
talking
I'm like,
about.
It's hard.
I
It's
could
hard.
tell the story, but it would give it away. And just in case anybody who knows this person or that person sees it, then I don't really want to kind of say it.
Yeah.
But it was
You
like,
don't want to make the same mistake Mark did.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Dana, actually,
Yeah, Dana got it worse.
Dana made
bro.
one. Mark made one. Me and Mike are still like zip.
I love it.
good
Yeah,
right now.
Neil is like, I love my job.
I'm like Morse coding helped me with
Yeah. uh, give me like a couple minutes to get back to that because I got to come up with a way to make like a generic story off of it. Because
Okay.
because I'm getting a little confused. I remember what you're talking about vaguely, but I'm pretty sure like Dana was saying, and I'm pretty sure Neil too. Like the hell
So
are you
that means
talking
that,
about?
yeah, that means other people. That means other people are going to say it. So basically, I got on the phone. I had a meeting with a dude, and this guy I used to work with, and at work, it was like my arch nemesis. Right, is constantly battling. He constantly was trying to like outdo me or like take my place, but didn't really have the experience or the what could I say, like the
He was on the ground. He wasn't like a ground troop. He was
right. He just
on the
immediately
battlefield.
came in. Yeah, came in and started trying to direct stuff without having the currency or the rapport built up with the team. But outside of work, we were pretty good friends. And he's doing all these things. He's doing great things. So he came on and he was like, "Hey, here's my spiel about what I'm doing lately." And I was like, "Man, that was great." I gave him feedback on his approach. And then he was like, "Here's this also other tool that you could use. You guys are doing a podcast. Here's this other tool that you guys could use and may possibly make it into something that's not as difficult as what you're doing." And told me about mining. He was mining Ethereum or something like that. But in the end, I was like, "Man, I feel like like every time I talk to you, I'm so charged up, ready to do things. Like it makes me want to go relive my entrepreneurial days and start like doing that kind of stuff again." And I was like, but I feel like I didn't give you anything out of this conversation." He was like, "Well, you could give me like a lead to somebody that has money for investing in my company." And immediately I was just like, well, I know this guy, right? And then, but when I thought about it, I'm thinking maybe that was intentional, right? Like maybe that was like a psychological play to give. And then at the end, when I'm charged up, say, "Hey, can you give me this thing that's way more valuable than anything I give you so that I can still succeed?" And when I told Mark about it, he was like, "Yeah, see, you got played." And I was just like, I saw it. I didn't see it until after I got off the phone. I was like, he's so fucking good at talking, that
like Ty Lopez do, man.
Yeah. So like, and like his
He gave you knowledge.
Exactly.
He did.
And I'm like, yo, here's money, right? Like here's an opportunity for
Gave
thousands
money.
of dollars. Like, fuck, I got used.
Yeah.
Mark was like, yeah, you got used. He's like, but he's like, honestly, like that's the life we live in. Like when you're a business person or you're an entrepreneur, like you have to
that's how
see
they gotta
things
do
in
it.
that manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I want to clarify in case he sees this. I'm not saying like like you dick. Why would you do that? It's just like
Right.
like that's the game that's being played, right?
Mhm.
The best assumption you can make, or not best, but like assumptions people make is that you understand the game and you're playing the same game as them.
Yeah.
And so they see it as like, well, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. But if you're completely unaware of what you're giving them,
Right.
then yeah, you get played. When I was talking to you, it didn't seem like you saw it. That's why
I didn't see it until after,
Yeah.
until I was talking to
Yeah.
you, until I was talking to you about it. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like
Got
Neil was
conned.
saying, knowledge.
But did you necessarily didn't really lose out though on anything, right?
No,
You kind of just
no.
found him someone that might help him out. So
Yeah.
at least, it's not like you gave him your own money.
Yeah, I was like,
Right,
did you give
right.
him
Yeah,
money?
Right.
The best thing
Right.
you could do, I guess, is take whatever he gave you, right, and use that to its potential.
Right.
And then maybe you
right.
can outdo him that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I first moved to DC, there was a huge networking culture, and I felt like it was so fake. Like everyone was super into networking. But then I realized after a while that that's how people got jobs and how they got opportunities. And that's when I was like, I got to play the game where I'm like sitting out on the bench. Like,
Yeah.
so now I'm just like, hey, like, even though I hate it, like I hate like meeting up with people for coffee and stuff. But it's like you said, Mark, like you gotta, it's the game that's in front of you. You either play it or you don't.
Right.
But yeah, it's like you scratch mine, I scratch your back. Like they're not really interested in you. They just want to see like what they can benefit from you, and then you got to do the same to them too.
Yep.
I hate it so
I
much.
hate it too.
So it's funny. I want to tie 2 points. Like Dana, you pointed out how people never, they only, what was it? You posted a video that no one watched when it was more for you. And then you posted that video that everyone is interested in, and all of a sudden like 500,000, I think you said 500,000 views. It's like that. People only want it kind of for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you do it for yourself. It's like, that's great, valiant, but no one gives a shit. Like,
Right.
unless you achieve that social status. So that's one thing I pointed out. And then the other thing was me and Mike came to this revelation that in order to build what we're trying to build, we need to get more involved in social media. Both of us have like hated that from the beginning because like you said, it's fake as fuck. And it's just like I don't want to do that. But that's the game. If you don't want to do that, then you shouldn't try this because it's just not for you. So
it's funny you mentioned that because like Dana will know, but I have 2 Instagram accounts, right? One Instagram account is just me, and one Instagram account is that like kind of I play the formula. It's just like my car page or whatever. Like I know cars, right? So I have a car page. And then so that one is the one where like I play the game, I friend people, and then it's like I've got a ton of followers there. And then the personal one where it's just me, it's like nobody. There's like no one. So it's like my inanimate object has more followers than me, who is a human being. You know what I mean? Like it's just funny to me.
It's funny when you started that car Instagram page, the followers went crazy. I was like, dang, you got like so many followers, and it's just cars on the Instagram
I was
page.
just doing the formula. Like I'm like, oh really? If you literally do these check marks, that's how you get followers or whatever. Wow. But then it's like my own page. It's like no one cares about your life. Like nobody cares about you.
I think though, I started following a lot of plant Instagrams, and people put their personal Instagram on the profile. They're like, this is me, and then they put the tag. And so I started following both people, both the plant Instagram and like their personal Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm just saying I guess it's just funny because, like I see that with the 2 things, like when you're just being yourself, like nobody cares, right?
Right.
And then when you actually try and like formulate your life, how you portray your life in front of everyone or whatever you want people to see, I guess, based on what's popular or the formula.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Then that might, like social media in general, does that mean everybody is just like being fake as fuck, and everybody has the fake account that has the followers, and then their regular life is like boring and shit, right? Like, so and then because you have like kids these days, they say there's kids like committing suicide and all kinds of stuff off the social media stuff. And it's like they don't know that it's just not real.
Yeah and that's a crazy thing. And I keep harping on like the Ty Lopez, but that's the same thing why people fall into these schemes, because they think the get rich quick thing, you rented a plane to post on your Instagram, right? And then you rented a car, and then people just think it's real. Like, it's as easy as that. So I mean, I'm not doing that on my other page. I'm just saying these are examples. So like yeah, but it is crazy. And then it's there are suicides and all of that.
Mass depression with and this is something that always comes up because I have a preteen daughter, and I'm starting to see her reach out more on the social media stuff. She's watching TikTok and all of these things, and she's affected by what people say to her on these social media things. And I'm just like, oh gosh, how do I navigate this? But you see these studies where they're saying, like there's lots of depression, there's kids with self-esteem issues, all because they think too. Exactly.
Online.
Exactly. Right.
It's interesting because it's like that we're the first generation of parents to have to deal with that, probably. Because this is the first time where we have to raise children in a social media world. Because I don't think Gen X had to do that, right?
Like I know my mother.
Letter, Mom.
You can't go you can't go to Jimmy's dad and be like, hey dude, like watch your kid.
How do you do this?
Like it's some like username online or something. Could be like trolling your kid. You would have no way of
that's crazy.
Going back to the like fakeness of Instagram though, I've noticed a lot of influencers will do a 2-photo upload where they do the perfect picture, and then they do the behind the scenes where they're like, remember this is fake, and then like it's a girl like posing and she looks really great, but then she's like, this is what I actually look like, and her gut's hanging out, she got like cellulite, she's like,
it's a dude.
It's a dude.
She's you gotta get followers, man.
Exactly. But it's like a lot of influencers are doing that now, where it's like it's all angles and Photoshop. It's not real. We're all normal people, and no one's going to post when they're having a hard time in life. They're only going to post when they succeed. So it's going to seem like everyone's succeeding except you, but really no one's putting their shit out there in social media. It's only when they're pretending to like have these nice things.
And it's a major situation.
Like my background like falls down.
All your fake social media background.
Mike, don't change it. It's real as it gets.
That's why I got no followers.
It's all a scam. There's like people sleeping on the floor and stuff.
Dude, I mean, my room's a mess. I got like cardboard boxes on.
And that's the thing too. Y'all don't even see what's down there. Like I got like all this crap. Just wipe it off cam, right? Perfect life right here, guys.
Exactly.
Look at how well lit my room is. It's not because of that ring light right there.
Before we started recording, you were even saying you were super uncomfortable because you had to like fit yourself
right?
into
It's the image. Like I'm not even at my freaking desk right now. Like I'm like here with a little table on my laptop.
Man, me too.
Please follow me, guys, please. Wonderful it is.
Like when you were saying how that video that I did looked is like, if anybody could see the background of what I was doing, it was like my camera was on a ladder.
With perfect angle. Hope it doesn't fall.
It was like looking through the top part of the ladder, so you couldn't see that there was like metal on either side. And then, like my computer was sitting on the bottom step under that, and I'm like, man, this looks like crap. I'm so happy nobody can see. And then like this table over here is a mess. You know?
It looked good though.
It's all for the shot.
I know.
It's like literally just for this square, like right here, right on your
Right.
Instagram page or on your YouTube page. But everything real life outside of that is just like a freak show. It's just a circus. Like I've got like I can't move my feet. I got like some shoe boxes and stuff here.
It was like this one girl I met, right? Like I met her on a dating app, and you know, she's got a YouTube channel with like 25,000 followers, and she's got an Instagram with like all these followers. And on her pictures, she's like gorgeous, right? She's like Black and Asian. She's like Jamaican. She's got a Jamaican accent and all that stuff. And so she was like really super hot. And then, but when I saw her in normal life, I was like, oh.
Mark.
Sorry, dude. I knew what he was gonna say. I just knew it.
I had to, that's
Mark's
way
like-
toned
Mark's
down
like, "You
from what
got
I want to
played."
say. I was like, oh, like she's got the girdle thing that's like sucking all this in. It's like that's how she gets the waist. She's got like a whole bunch of makeup and like wigs. I'm like, I had no idea like wig technology was so advanced. I was like, that the strands of hair were coming out of her scalp, and she's like, no, that's a wig. I was like, well, what's your real hair look like? She takes it out, she's got like a little afro. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, like you gotta watch out, man. You get stuck out there thinking that you like Mark said, it could be a dude on the other line. You know?
At least you got the actual person. At least you didn't
Right.
get like a dude or like someone
Yeah,
else.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't completely somebody else.
Yeah.
Scam.
That's so funny.
I didn't to bust out laughing before you finished. I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I got it, man. I hope nobody watches this.
Yeah, me too.
That's what you want, man. This is what you want.
So what's the next topic, man, on the relationship list?
Well,
'Cause-
the next thing was, I'm kind of wondering, there's this thing called impactful relationship analysis, and maybe Mark can explain how that plays into all of this stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, we kind of derailed. I mean, it's one of those things where it's.
Hold on, you're kind of low.
Oh,
Yeah, you're a little bit low.
is it good now? No, still no.
Oh no. Yeah.
Maybe it's a Zoom thing where as it understands that you're talking, it raises your volume automatically. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is it still low?
because actually his was doing that a couple times.
Mhm.
Right.
He would start talking and then it would come back up.
Nope.
You're
can't
on
hear
mute
you.
now.
Yeah.
Well, I muted.
Oh, I
it.
hear
Is
you.
it- Is
Okay.
it good or?
It's
is
all
it-
right. It's all
Still
right.
kind of low, but it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Audio settings. Oh, my input volume is like
Way
oh,
down.
fuck.
Don't blow our ears off.
Oh, it's on automatically adjust. The fuck.
Okay.
Oh, good
Yeah,
call,
so
man.
Okay. Is that
There you
is
go.
that better?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
better.
Man, it was like this the whole time.
Yeah. And like it only happened a few times, but then like
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
said, it would pick up once you kind of got into it.
Right.
What was the question?
Oh, yeah. It's called impactful relationship analysis and how it can change my life.
Are we following the Mark religion?
Yeah.
No, man. All right, so
This was
like,
the $2,500 course. I'm ready.
yeah, no. So I had a certain vision of how this would go, and it went like that way. So it was supposed to kind of be like talking about experiences and like specific experiences in our lives, and kind of like looking through them, so people could get understanding of like, okay, this is kind of how you analyze relationships in your past, any type of relationship. But we talked about relationships still, but not directly. But so, I mean, that's fine. I'm good with where we went. But if you want to tie it back,
I'm good to go wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just hanging out here, man.
Yeah, I think Dana made a good point earlier when she said that it's all about the way you communicate with somebody, right? You can say things one way and I think that's where the love languages comes in, right? With relationships. You could be buying someone gifts all the time, you know, doing all these things that you think should show them that you care for them and that you're thinking about them. But if that's not how they interpret, you know, that somebody cares about them, then it doesn't matter. I remember, you know, in a past relationship, I tried a bunch of things, right? I tried to, you know, hey, let's do this random adventure thing. Let's go to a concert, like, you know, and she didn't know anything about it. We just drove up to like Maryland and went to a Maxwell concert. And she was like, yeah, that wasn't romantic. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, a fucking weekend getaway. You didn't even have to do anything but pack 2 days of clothes. And then like, you know, everything was taken care of. We had the hotel and all that. No, that wasn't romantic. So then I'm like, okay. So then I bought like a Coach bag, right? And you're talking, you know, Coach bags are, you know, kind of pricey. And then next thing you know, I see it like balled up in the corner in the closet. I'm like, wow, okay. So, you know, and it's just like,
That's rough, man.
yeah. So it's like, you really have to know.
So your love language is love of acts of service, it sounds like. Yeah.
Yes.
And hers is probably like affection, like words.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think that's almost exactly right.
Yeah.
How did you fucking get that out of what I said? That's amazing. That was amazing.
Relationship analysis, man.
Yeah, she just
That's
impactful
$2,500
relationship in
for
that.
a reason, bro. That's why you paying.
She's certified in that shit. She picked that up really good. Yeah, it's exactly right.
That's exactly what I didn't know in my earlier 20s. And I would always just get really frustrated. Just like you, Mike, I had a relationship where like the person would do a lot of things, but they didn't like touching. Like they didn't like hugging. They didn't like being affectionate. I'm like, can we like, I feel like we're roommates. Like we're not like, and that's how I like, how I like show love.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't like people in their space. And it's like, oh, like why? Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So it's like, you really have to speak each other's languages, even if you don't speak it. Like, I would have to do those acts of service for him to feel like, oh, she really appreciates, versus he would have to go out of his comfort zone and be like, I gotta be more affectionate and let her in my like little bubble. Right. And that's hard. Like, you gotta recognize that. And I feel like you gotta like match your love languages like that.
Yep. You got to catch that in the beginning, because a lot of people end up in a relationship that doesn't necessarily work and they can't figure out why, but that's part of why.
Yep.
You also got to know what the love languages are. I didn't know about that until like this year.
Yeah, I didn't know that till just right now.
Yeah.
Before love languages.
I mean, it's actually really.
Ava, come down here.
We gotta take this test.
It's really insightful. I mean, like, the problem is you usually see it in like a BuzzFeed quiz type deal, and it's like, this is bullshit.
Honestly, like, oh, I hate this. I don't like the survey things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's but the official one, you should take the official one.
Yeah. It's kind of like the INTJ, ENTP, like the 4 personality types.
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it's called. But it's not supposed to be like, this is who you are. It's just like, okay, this is a pretty good idea of maybe what you like. Because like Vicky, my wife, you all know her. She's active to service, which like confused the hell out of me, because like, you know, I have a cup that's like right there and I haven't cleaned it.
I love my cup.
You love the fuck out of your cups, dude.
I love cup.
Where I get this cup, man?
Yeah, it's been there for like 3 days. Got like dry coffee, but I think nothing of it. But if I clean that, then she's like, oh, thank you for cleaning. I'm like, what? And then she'll do the same thing, and I'm just like, okay.
Why'd you clean my cup?
Why are you touching my cup?
Get away from my cup.
Yeah, it's not that I don't appreciate it. It's just like, it's just not my thing.
It's just an action to you.
That you appreciate it might not be something she appreciates.
Yeah,
it's different. Yeah.
I mean,
what is your love language, Mark?
What are they? Which one are they?
Acts of service, like words of affection or something like that.
Affirmation.
What's that?
Words of affirmation.
Oh, words of affirmation. Gifts, like giving gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that one.
There it is. We found his.
There
were 2 others.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think I'm the same one as
it's quality time and touch.
yeah, physical touch, quality time, like
Yeah.
spending just time together,
Yeah. I
giving
don't know.
gifts, acts of service, words of affection.
I think it's quality mixed with touch.
Yeah.
I think. So I actually like really hate it when people touch me. Was it the chiropractor, right? Like Mike was telling me about a chiropractor. I'm like, dude, someone like touching me, I just can't. I just can't. Like,
Yeah, I'm weird about it too.
yeah,
But
my what's it called? I think it's my cousin-in-law. Yeah, my cousin-in-law was a PT, and he was like saying like, "Oh, I heard you got like back problems or something. I can give you a massage." And I was like, "No, no, no, no." And I was like getting mad because they kept doing it, and they kept asking me. I was like getting like visually pissed off. And I guess to other people it would come off like, oh, "What's your deal? What's going on?" But yeah, but then with Vicky, I'm like, I'm fine with the hugging and stuff, like holding hands. I do that all the time. But anyone else, I'm like, ew.
yeah.
But it's interesting if
It's
you
probably a
weren't.
good thing.
Yeah, it's interesting if you weren't into it with your wife, though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like if you were even like.
I'm okay with my wife, not other people. It's so weird, right? Is that weird to me?
But then, like, even the words, what was it, affirmation? Words of
Yeah.
yeah, quality time. Like, again, same thing with my wife. But if someone is like praising me at work, I'm like, oh, shut up, go away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's what their love.
Oh yeah, never
languages.
mind.
Why are you loving at me at work right now?
Be like,
There
good
you
job,
go.
Mark. You did a good job there. I love
Ew,
you.
I don't love you. Get away from me.
By the way, I love you. I just want you to know that. Good job. Good work.
I forgot. Good. The love language is.
Yeah.
Forgot the key word there.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there's some version of it for, professional relationships as well, right? Like some people like kudos, some people like money, some people, like maybe there's just a version of it that's translated for whatever.
Give me the gifts, bro.
Yeah. Give me my money. Like I don't care about your email saying I got a promotion. You can save that shit and give me an extra 10% in AIP. Give me extra. Give me 10% bonus. Don't.
Yep.
Yep. I don't want this pizza party. Like
Right. Exactly.
My could have just given me the money, man.
Oh my gosh.
And you tipped them too? Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Yeah. That was mine.
That was my tip.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly,
man.
dude. Yeah, I would actually much rather prefer getting $10 than having a pizza party or some lunch.
Yeah, I'll
Just give me
take it.
$10. I'll take it. I don't care. Whatever.
Right.
There was a company I worked for that like bought all the seats for like a baseball game and no one went to it. And then like one of the administrators was like, we have all these tickets and we don't, and like the ticket also comes with a free gift in the souvenir shop. So this company had to like buy all this baseball shit that like they just donated. And I'm like, you could have just gave us that money.
By the way, we can't afford
Right,
your raises, by
right.
the way, this year.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, so
Exactly.
we had
Yeah.
company-wide socks for Christmas. I was laughing my ass off.
I think mine are still in the package somewhere.
I gave
Jeez.
mine away, man. I
Yeah.
was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
We
They also sent out
appreciate-
masks. They sent out the COVID masks. I actually wear mine because, I wasn't really wearing a mask.
Yeah.
We got
Like-
one too, but it's like plastered to my face. It hurts. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Does it say the company name on like the lips?
Oh,
Pretty
jeez.
much. Pretty much.
Like,
So that's another one of those things, right? Where you think you got something, but really it's just a
No.
promotional.
They
Yeah.
played you.
Yeah, exactly. And
And the
and them
and them.
and them cares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask a philosophical question to you guys. Do
Okay.
you think that work is a mutual relationship, commensal, or parasitic? I feel like on the surface it's mutual. But if you think about it, the cost of living hasn't gone up since the 70s. I mean, it has gone up since the 70s, but our wages haven't. So really, we all kind of have to put in these long hours just to survive. So it's, in my mind, I'm like, it can kind of touch on all three, where you really are getting a paycheck at the end of the day and you're giving them, work. But I mean, like, the amount that you're getting paid with how much the cost of living has gone up over the last few decades is still kind of parasitic in a sense. I don't know, but what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
So I'll let Mark start because I know Mark probably has a pretty good. I know you
So,
probably have a pyramid drawn out about it.
yeah, that's a really good question. Question posed in my opinion. It's going to depend on what you do with the relationship. I think a lot of people let the company dictate what that relationship is without realizing that it's like a two-way thing. You have to do it. Like I said, right? If a company decides to like toss you in the gutter for a couple months and then, like just like overwork, right? It's parasitic. Sure, they're paying you, but like it's parasitic in the sense that, well, I want to also tie back that like money isn't everything, right? So they can be paying you, but if your mentality is like busted and you can't even think straight, that's not worth the money. Now it's a parasitic relationship. But you can definitely shift it where, okay, now they let up on the gas. Now it's more relaxing. Now they want you to do more stuff. It's just like, okay, fuck that. I'm going to sleep for like 30 hours, right? Now it becomes more of a balanced, mutualistic relationship. And it's also going to depend, like the company relationship is so generic because it encompasses like every relationship within that company. So it's hard to say what the relationship company should be because it's technically like aggregation of every relationship you have with everybody in that company, like your managers, your coworkers, and all that all contribute. So I don't know what I'm going with, but
I mean,
basically, yeah, company is mutualism in its essence, but the reality is you have to assess it based on all the relationships you have within the people in your company.
yeah, I think you made a really good point where you say it just depends on how you use it, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to work and you don't attach yourself emotionally really to it, that might have its own pros and cons. But if you're getting a paycheck that's decent enough and you're not feeling like it's sucking the life soul out of you every day, and it still affords you the time and mental bandwidth to do things on your own and cultivate your own personal projects or whatever it was you want to do, then I think that's that work-life balance. And Mark, I know you talked about it before where you like people keep separating like work and life. I think that was you that act like they're two different things, but really it's just it's all a one encompassing thing. So I know at my job, sometimes I feel like it's parasitic. I'm like, these guys are using me. They're bringing in people, they're paying them higher than me. They're 3 levels higher than my role, X, Y, and Z. And then I'll remember back to what Mark and my Scrum Masters used to say, they're like, you just care too much. Stop caring so much and pull back a little bit. And then you'll see that actually you could be doing whatever the hell you want to do, sipping lemonade, and just come in and look like you're contributing every once or twice every couple hours, and you would still gets paid the same, right? Instead of me feeling like I'm being overworked. So I definitely think it depends on how you use it. And that's just like when we said the college thing, where I went to college to party, but my friend went to college to like really cultivate a relationship. And I mean, her career, and now she's like famous and I'm chilling, right? Like, so yeah.
It's
Nothing
funny
wrong with
because
chilling though.
Yeah.
Whatever you value.
Right.
yeah, exactly. It's funny because my old coworker is having this existential crisis. She's like 36 or 37, where she's like, this isn't the industry for me. And like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing with my career. And I'm like, it's the same shit in any industry. I don't know what you're talking about. This is just to pay my bills. Like, I just want to have a job where I can pay the bills, come in 9 to 5, and have enough time to do what I want outside of work. But like, she's still in that mindset of like, I'm still trying to find the career that's right for me. And it's like, at the end of the day, all of the corporate jobs are kind of the same, no matter what industry they are. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that's, I don't know. It's like a trap, and it's not like a trap for everyone, but like I got to figure out what's right for my career, right? But I mean, exploring more, especially in the past couple of months. I know Neil, we've been talking about this a lot too, but it's like we're trying to get out of that career-driven life. Now it's about kind of I mean, it's still technically a career. I mean, yeah, it is a career, but it's a different vision of what people view careers as, where we're trying to profit off of who we are, as opposed to what we can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's really how seriously you take it. You know,
Yep.
if you take it as serious as your career, then it's your career. If
Yeah.
you're treating it like a hobby, it's a hobby. So yeah, it's really how you look at it. And by the way, this is like a I don't know if y'all could hear my daughter woke up, so you'll hear a lot of noises and sound effects in the background.
Yeah, it sounded like at a store where you hear like the intercom saying like there's a sale on aisle 3.
Yeah. Pretty
That's
much.
kind of what it sounded like to me.
Feed me.
I haven't seen my dad in days.
Yeah, like, but talking about like trying to profit off of your passion, right? Like it seemed like I tried to start into it and I was like, I'm gonna just like do this YouTube stuff and I'm gonna do this video stuff, and then I realized like, wait a minute, I don't want this to be my job either, right? Like I wanted to just play video games for YouTube, and like, but then the other day I was like, okay, I got to sit down and record this gameplay, and then that's like right then it felt like a job, and it kind of just ruined it for me. And I don't really, I really don't know how to come back from that now. You know, and then editing the videos for the YouTube.
It's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to get to.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, it would be nice to get to a point where you can hire editors, and then you can free up some time. But it's gonna take some time before you get to there.
Yeah, and then maybe that's where your job comes in, right? You just use that money to pay an editor and then get it written off or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I think the balance is the way that I see it is I see that too. Like even just doing like a couple of YouTube videos, it actually kind of gets stressful. But the way I see it is, would I rather be stressed out doing this or be stressed out doing my normal job? And like I said, my normal job, it's like the best thing I could do as a normal job for me right now. So it's either that or something, at least doing something that I enjoy, and let's see where that goes. But yeah, I hear you. Like, so I feel like it is a job too. But then that's kind of why I was saying, if you treat it as such, then it could become that, you know. So when you overcome that, when you post that video after it's been like, oh, like that thinking of, I got to edit this and I got to do all that. I got to sit on the couch. It's not comfortable to do the camera under the ladder and stuff like that. Right. Yeah, it's like that, you know. But when you overcome that, that's what makes you start, like, you know, I don't know. That's kind of what makes it.
Yeah, worth it,
I guess.
Yep.
And it's funny because I just posted a video today, and it's funny, like I was trying to do it like 1 or 2 weeks ago, and during the 1 or 2 weeks, there was this like viewer or whatever saying, hey, you're gonna release that thing, I
saw that.
And I was like, dang, man, like, I'm so freaking tired, and I didn't even know how I was gonna start editing and it was like a big video for me. So I was like, and I felt like pressure, man. Like, this is literally I don't even know this person. It's just somebody, like, it's just text on my screen, and I was feeling like, you know, feeling pressure, you know. So, you know, and
wait, there was somebody on your channel asking
like, yes,
for you
boss,
to post it?
I want it, man. Yeah.
It was probably like a 12-year-old, like, oh,
yeah, it probably was like an 8th grader.
Yeah.
It could have been like I'd do Lego reviews, man. It was probably like some kid or something.
Okay.
But, you know, and then, you know, things like that. And then when you see comments, you know, it stresses me out. But then also the kind of stress you put on yourself, you know, like, if I don't get this video out now, then no one's going to watch it because it's already old or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So it's funny because you hear a lot of the YouTubers talking about how they're stressed out and stuff. And I'm like, how? But
there's
now
like
I kind of see
burnout.
Yeah. But now I'm not saying I get it because I'm not at that level, obviously, but I see what they mean now. But I guess, again, what I'm coming back to is that I would rather take this stress than my my real life
stress for yourself versus stress for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're burning out, but you're getting rewarded and you're doing something you love, versus someone like breathing down your neck, like, where is this? Blah blah blah. It's like at the end of the day, you're doing
even
it
though
for someone
is
else.
doing that too. Like, hey man, I thought you were gonna put this Lego video. So like yeah, it's great. And I think it's just like at a point where if it becomes to a level where, you know, it probably won't be, but if it ever gets to a point where it's sustainable, then you just make that choice. Well, would I rather be doing gameplay videos? And it ruins your gameplay. I get it, because you're thinking about doing it for YouTube. And I'm the same
Right.
way when I did my thing. I wasn't even thinking about the game. I was just thinking about, oh man, is this capturing correctly? Is this,
Right.
yeah. So like, so I totally hear you. So yeah, so I
Yeah.
think it's just weighing, for me, it's which one would I do. And I'll just say this before I go too far. Every kind of video I post and every comment I get from general public, it kind of makes me feel like I'm sticking it to the man in some way, because I'm like, I'm one step further, by posting this, you know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
got one more subscriber, I got one more,
Right.
like, I'm one step closer. So I feel like accomplished in separating my, my life
Your
path
financial
as I'm wanting to.
independence.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's a, like a lofty goal. I get it, but I just feel like I did something, rather than just sat there all day and thought about it
Mhm.
Yeah.
and didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and it's
mean-
funny, like the relationships. It's funny because you kind of start to get that with people, like normal people who watch or whatever or comment, and it's funny because that relationship, in terms of things that they want or whatever it may be, it's really just your own. You don't know these people; they have literally no impact on your life. But
Right.
then sometimes you feel obligated, but it's just that kind of relationship. You don't. It's kind of your own fabricated relationship with someone you don't
Exactly.
even know, that you're feeling
Exactly.
accountable to them for. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
So that, real quick, that ties into what I was trying to answer with the company, right? Where technically it could be, if you feel that pressure, you can interpret that as like, oh, it's parasitic. Like, this person is making me feel like this. But it's probably, you can change it to where it's actually mutualistic. You're like, oh, hey, okay, well, I mean, I'll give you your benefit. It's just going to take a little bit more time for me. And he's probably 100% okay with that. So like you said, the perception is like, okay, you can interpret this as mutualistic or parasitic depending on who you are, not who that other person is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the ideas I wanted to get out of this podcast, where people start realizing, like, here's some little mental tricks you can do, and all of a sudden things are a lot better, and nothing really changed other than your mindset.
Exactly. And that, for me, that plays a big part at work, because sometimes I'll get an email or I'll get a message, and in my mind, immediately I totally misconstrue it, and I'm raging about it. And then I'm raging so much that I don't get to a point of answering it immediately or doing that, because I'm so mad. But then I realize as time gets by, I've thought about it 30 different ways. And then I kind of realize, oh, this really didn't mean anything.
Right.
Right. And then it's
Exactly.
fine, like,
Exactly.
and so I know that with myself when it comes to work, and I guess real life too. But for me, I need to give it time to digest the information that I received. And then it's hard by email. You can't tell context, or a Teams message, you can't tell the context too. So I think with me, I usually give it time and process the interaction more carefully.
Mhm.
And then I realize, it's not a big deal. And even if it is, then I shouldn't be worked up about it.
Yeah, I started switching to like always assuming that this person has the best intention. And that's actually helped out a lot in terms of like calming down from the raginess. Cause I'm like, all right, it's there's I forget what it's called, but there's a law, I think it's Conway's law. It's like, don't attribute to malice what could be attributed to stupidity. Or I think it's
Ignorance. Yeah.
yeah. So it's not, and like that has actually like resonated really, really well with me. It's just like, people aren't out to tank your job, or
Right.
aren't necessarily out to get you.
Right.
At worst, they're just an idiot, right? And at that point, I'm okay with it, because I love being the idiot. And so now we're all playing the same game in my mind, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so if someone says something incorrect, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I try to keep a good sounding board of people around me, because I rage pretty quickly. But I also understand that 99% of the time, no one is trying to offend you or trying to make your
Right.
life harder.
Yep.
Right. So that's why I got to say, hey, dude, talk me down from the ledge. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
this,
hear
I
you.
know, but at least it sounds like all of us take the time to introspect and say, let me think about this before I act. And I think that's a part of like mental evolution and like spiritual evolution and all that stuff, is that you take the time to realize that life is not out to get you, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly true, because that's like 90% of the time that's just what it was. And there's also the people just being the way they are. They don't even mean it to offend you, but some people are dry, some people are
Right.
over dramatic, some people, that's just how they are, but they don't mean to offend. So if it crosses my personality, then immediately I'm outraged. But I just need to give it time, and I think about it, and then I send a reply, and everything's all good, and it's like, oh, this really wasn't. It's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's pretty. Sometimes people are pretty messed up, but most of the time, it's the relationship is kind of how you're how I'm visualizing it.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily be what it really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes you could even ask, like, I mean, sometimes I'm like, so are you trying to be a dick, or is it an accident, right? Like, before I get mad, are you is this what you're saying?
Yep.
And then, they're like, no, this is what I meant. I'm like, oh, okay. Cause I was about to kill you. Right?
I was about
I'm about to kill you, man.
You almost got it, man.
No, yeah. Almost, man. This close.
But yeah, I mean, it all goes back into like, we're not really taught how to have appropriate relationships. It's just like, you're just expected to finally get it. And I mean, like, you hear people who are like, oh, you just gotta love me for who I am. And some people will go, that's not exactly how it works.
It's
like,
right.
you kind of, it's like a balance, right? You can't just be who you are and expect everyone around you to change.
Right.
But then no one really tells you that, right? If you come up in a life where I'm watching Friday Night Lights, right? I don't know if you've seen that show. But there's an all-star there, right? And he he has this huge ego. But I mean, that's super beneficial to him. So he can come into a job later on in his career, and if he keeps acting like that, I'm pretty sure it's going to be rough times, just because you can't have that ego. People don't respond very well to that. But again, where do you pick that up? You don't pick that up.
Right.
It's impossible. So not impossible.
Also, when you actually determine when people are acting like legit aggressive towards you, choosing if it's worth your time and energy to respond back, that's another thing too.
Right. That's another layer of it.
I could go off on this person, or I could just choose not to.
Right. Be the bigger person, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, is it going to really be worth my energy and my time and mental space to actually react to this person? Or should I just not even care and just let it roll off my back?
Yeah. And so that's the idea of if you engage, it turns into a parasitic relationship. Mm-hmm. If you don't engage, there's no relationship and you don't have to worry about it. But again,
that's so funny.
One of those, it's you have to be aware of it. If you're aware of it, you can start seeing the tricks and you're like, no, it's actually not that hard. I mean, I'm not saying relationships are easy. It's just, it's a lot more complicated because we don't take the time to understand it. It's not that no one understands it. It's just it's not really focused on. They would much rather you understand algebra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's funny you say that, because it kind of reminds me of what you guys used to tell me when that same dude would be on my nerves at work, right? And you're just like, dude, you have to be agnostic to him and what he's trying to do. You have to understand that he's trying to do this, and generally that should be good. You just have to not really care about his implementation details, right? As long as the end goal, you guys have the same goal, it doesn't matter if he does it this way or that way. And after a while, I was like, I guess you're right. I still hate that guy though.
But you're good friends.
Now we're good friends. Yeah. Just don't fucking work with me. I don't want to.
But yeah, see, parasitic, mutualistic. It's not. I mean, it's the same person. You had the same experiences. All that changed was your mind. It's really, I don't know. Obviously, it doesn't work out in every cases. I'm not saying if you just put your mind to it.
Yeah, right.
I'm not trying to say that at all. Some people, you just need to. You're out. Just get out.
That's funny, dude. Because when you say that, a certain person, these same people keep coming up, right? So there's a certain person.
No one from your job watches this.
This is not even about the job. This is personal relationships, right? And she's just she's now she's loud and she's just obnoxious and doesn't go to sleep at night and like, but wants to be here, right? And I'm like, dude, like, I'm not okay with you being downstairs like watching TV all night while I'm sleeping. Like, that's not what I'm used to. It's like, well, not everybody has to live on your schedule. Not everybody, I'm gonna be me and this and this and that. I'm like, I understand that, but it's like you have to have the self-confidence and the self-esteem to say, yeah, I understand that, but what you like to do is just not for me. So unfortunately, this can't continue, right?
Mhm.
And for the longest time, I think that's where like codependent relationships come from, right? It's like
Yeah.
I was unable to say, your way of life just doesn't work with mine.
Mhm.
Right. I thought that it was just like I needed her and she thought she needed me. And we, even though we were toxic to each other, we stayed together because we thought we needed each other. And like, I didn't even know about codependency until I went through that with this particular person that just called. But, like it's so many layers to relationships. It's sick.
Mhm.
It's just crazy.
It's
I don't even
like
know what that means.
What, codependency?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to, maybe Dana can explain it better than me, but I don't want to, not saying that you've been in a codependent relationship. I'm just saying, like, you seem to have you're able to define things and say things very well. Like, if I say it, I'm just going to botch it. So I don't even want to try to say it. I'll look it up.
I think I recognize that too, Mike, because I feel like I was in previous like codependent relationships, but it's mostly like you're unable to do things on your own without the other person. Like you're used to doing things together so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like a healthy relationship is that you can exist independently and each person enhances each other's life, but you can exist without each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think, but I think there's maybe it's multifaceted, right? Because so it seemed like she liked drama, right? And so she would always find ways to create drama in her life. And me, just inherently, I like to help people and save people. So her constantly creating drama and needing somebody to save her, and me needing to save someone and her constantly going through drama created that.
Yeah.
And so it would be to the point where it would, like, sometimes you hear it come out in the fact that people like to argue before they have sex, right? Like it's something about arguing and then reconciling that ignites whatever it is for that couple to like want to have makeup sex or whatever, right? And like there's so many things, right? It's like there's so many ways that it comes out, right?
Yeah,
That's how it works.
Tentacles, right? That's, I think that was our case of the codependency is that drama save me. I'm out of control because I can't control my life. I'm like, I'll save you. And then, me needing to save one, her needing saving. And then it was just toxic and horrible. It was horrible. Yeah.
I think one thing I've learned as I got older is boundaries. That's one thing I did not set when I was younger, and saying like this, like you said, like, oh, someone's sitting downstairs, like watching TV while I'm sleeping. Like, no, like you have your own TV in your own house.
Right.
But like when you're younger and you're like, oh, I love this person, I'll give this person anything. You start to overgive and not recognize like I'm overgiving and now I'm exhausted and now I don't know who I am. Like you don't like, for me, I've recognized now like what is a boundary that I'm willing to put my foot down on and what is just a stupid thing that I'm like, oh, that's not worth saying anything about it. But it's really like it's helped me in a healthy way to like say like that's not gonna fly with me. Like that can't you can't keep doing that.
I'm lucky, man, because I stay up way late watching YouTube all night.
Dude, I see you live streaming sometimes. I'll be in bed trying to sleep. Yeah, dude, it's like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
right now.
And I'm like, YouTube live stream Yellow Junior. I'm like, damn, bro. That's crazy.
Starts on one day, ends on another day.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm just realizing I'm really lucky right now that she lets me do that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No, I see. I know what you mean though, but like if we started dating, that she probably wouldn't be that way. It's just we've been together for a long time now, so we can kind of do whatever we want at this point.
I'm tired of you.
Yeah, I'm lucky she lets me do that.
I think, like, I don't know if you want me to say her name, but you and your wife, like, you guys are very independent people anyways, and you
Yeah.
guys like just let each other do each other's things.
Yeah.
Versus there's other like people in relationships that
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
where
I
are
had that
you?
too.
Like,
Yeah, I
Right.
had that
yeah,
too. I remember.
you haven't texted me all
Yeah.
day. Like, what are you
Right.
doing? Like,
Yeah.
you guys aren't like that, and I think that's healthy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
But
that's kind of, and it's also some people, thrive in that sort of kind of, like
Relationship.
what do you call it? Like one in a, two
one
people is
unit,
one, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
And some people don't, and I think that we're both kind of those type of people. So it worked out, because it could have been where it was me who was like wanted to do my own, and her being clingy, or me being clingy, or her being that will not work, you
Right.
know.
Yep.
So yeah,
That
we kind
definitely
of got
doesn't
lucky
work.
there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
ties back into love languages and understanding like how you
Right.
appreciate things and stuff like that. It's
Right.
it's
And knowing who you're
ridiculous.
getting in
Yeah.
with, knowing who you're getting in relationships with, you have to really
Yep.
know the person. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it just boggles my mind that you find out about these things after the fact.
Yep.
Like you have to, it's like, okay, like billions and billions of people have failed before you, but hey, here's your turn to fail like
Yeah.
50,000
Right.
more
You'd
times.
think that there
It's
would be like a how-to by now.
yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Literally.
there's a ton of them out there. It's just like, it's always put off. You don't learn it until
You go through it.
much later. Yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's kind of ineffective, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think if I'm not saying too much, you're the ideal situation, Mark, because you survived the high school college transition, you survived long distance, and actually majority of it was. So it's like you guys like really
Yeah.
mend well together, because you guys like
Yeah.
I did the like, okay, mine was okay, long distance breakup, going to college breakup that first year. Like I hit all of those steps on the way. On the way. So
I mean,
man, you guys gelled really well, man.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, we just got like really lucky that we found each other. I mean, our personalities aligned, like, or not aligned, but like really, really complemented the fuck out of each other. I mean, we've known each other for like 18 years. Was it the first 12 or 13 was a 3,000-mile long distance relationship. And that was without Skype, right? For the majority of it.
Right.
That was just like we still had the flip phones and shit. You know what I mean? Like video.
I got 12 minutes
pictures.
left on my plan.
Exactly.
Wow.
Was Tita Ann super like strict about about that stuff? Because
I'm
our
gonna say
mom
yes.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
yeah.
your mom was the same.
Because so we also had a 3-hour time difference, right?
Yeah.
But like, so my grades kind of tanked. Not completely because of that, but it did contribute because I was up till like 2:00 and then I gotta wake up at 5, drive to school. But like it was worth it to me.
Yeah.
And I was also one of those people where, like, as I started valuing other things outside of school, because I was just taught, hey, value school because this is how the rest of the world works. And then I started branching out and learning, like, I really don't care about school, but I really care about this girl who I'm talking to. So
Nice.
why not sacrifice, right? So fuck it. And then that's what I did. But
yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, the problem is if you don't go through the school path, there really isn't much out there to learn. And being from parents who are like that, they're like, they know to teach me is school. So there wasn't really anyone to help me through that. So I did have to fall on my face like 80 million times to figure out how to do this, but it fucking paid off. So
That's crazy. Because I mean, I know for me, like long distance does not work with me. Like, yeah. So we both know that. Like if I had to go to like Europe for a few months, I think we would be done. like I think one key to me is like we have to be in the same location. I mean, we do independent things. We're not together all the time,
Right.
but like basically like the phone thing. No, I can't talk on the phone for like hours and I can't. I'm like, hey, how's your day? Okay, I'm on like the computer. I'd rather do something, like I get bored quickly, I guess.
yeah.
So I can't do like a phone conversation or a webcam conversation like that. Like in terms of like relationship stuff, like I can't, So it's kind of like for me, that's where I would fail, like a long distance thing. So I can't believe you did it. Like for you, it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, enjoyed the conversations we had like every single day. Because I remember a couple people asked me like, "How do you talk for that long? Like, once you run out of things to talk about?" I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but no, it's weird. Because I mean, I look back at we'd have like 14-hour phone conversations.
Oh my God.
Oh. My dog turned around.
Right. What the fuck?
Yeah,
She's like 14 times 7. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Oh
Right.
my god.
That's like days in my world.
yeah, man. I don't know. It's nothing.
Oh, I could not do that, man. And that's the thing, because you have to. It sounds bad for me, but you have to work at it, like the long distance
Yeah.
thing. I can't. Like I can't.
Yep.
You know. I guess. Well, you know. And I say now it's different, because if it's someone like I'm dating, whatever, and it's, you know, then yeah, if it's not that strong, totally. But I'm just kidding about, you know, if it's my wife, of course it'll work, because we have a stronger, you know, we have years
Yeah.
and years and years now. But yeah, if it were like someone I was dating, or like maybe going out with for a little while, it would be hard.
Yeah,
for me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do
can't
not
maintain
recommend it at all. I will. Anyone who says, "Oh, I'm in this long distance relationship," I'm automatically going like,
Yeah, me too.
All
I'm like,
right.
good luck, man.
Yeah, I was like, all right, how much time you got left? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, it's really difficult. It really is, especially like for someone like me. Well, I guess I didn't figure it out till later, but the touch, right? I mean, I can't touch her through the
Mhm.
screen or anything, so that's like really difficult to deal with. But I guess the quality of the conversation was just like so good that yeah, that held it up. But that's not everybody. I don't even know who is like that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's some serious dedication, yo.
Mhm.
Serious
Borderline
dedication.
obsessive.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But then in college, I don't. Oh, never mind. I can't say it.
All right.
But I
do
can't.
like.
All right, mom, dad. I went to California during my college years and never told you.
I remember that too.
Frequent trips to California.
yeah. I took trips to California.
It's okay now because you're
Yeah,
fine
yeah,
now.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're scared.
Did everything you
but-
needed to do, so now it
Is
doesn't
that-
matter what you did.
No.
It's that Asian parent, like we're
Exactly.
so scared.
We're
so scared.
I know, right?
They're gonna bust out of the side with a
Yeah,
belt
I
and
know,
whoop your ass.
exactly. What the fuck are you talking about? You think there's statute of limitations to this? Hell no. But yeah, no,
Oh,
I
gosh.
picked up poker, and that's how I paid for my trips.
So you're
Nice.
basically that's awesome, man. You
Mark
should
was
have stuck with that.
Oh, I
remember,
do. I was
I
trying to-
remember your
yeah.
poker face, man. You were hustling.
Yeah, man,
Poker
I
like
had
a
to.
fiend.
Because I mean, the fucking I had no job. I don't know why I didn't just get a job. That would have been so much easier. But no, I was trying to like play poker games. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I do have to appreciate again after everything. Like Dana's dog really doesn't turn around, and she just turned around for that one time where I said I had a
She's like,
14-hour phone call.
huh?
She's like, hell no.
14
Oh, gosh.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, going back to you, Neil, not like functioning well in long distance relationships. I feel like you're more of like an experienced person. Like you like to do things like surfing, going to the beach, like blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And I feel like you're not more of a conversationalist.
No.
Yeah,
Like I'd rather
I-
spend time. I'd rather travel with her, like travel
Yeah.
around the world, or go to a concert or do something.
You're like a
And-
doer. Yeah.
Yeah, and when we're at home, yeah, that's the difference, because there's nothing else to do but conversate. So yeah, of course. But like in terms of just talking on a phone, it doesn't gel with me for some reason. And that's
Yeah.
like Mark was saying back way. That's the only thing you could do is talk on the phone. Maybe if you had a webcam, you can get on a web call. But
Yep.
it didn't. Yeah, it didn't work
Yeah,
for
man.
me.
I had to use the home phone too, man. That long distance. I gotta wait till after 12. Otherwise, I'm charging my parents.
Yeah, I know. And it's crazy because now with all this stuff, maybe it can, and I'm sure it changes the way we can carry a relationship. Because yeah, maybe I could do it now. And then of course, now that I'm more invested in my family now, that I've years and years and years with her, and now we have this technology, of course it would be different. Like it's, so I wonder how that would change. Because it's funny, actually, I remember back when my first online call was when our dads were calling each other through AIM.
What?
And it's funny because back then you could call him on a phone, but my dad was like, "Hey, I'm gonna call Mark's dad on the internet," and I was like, "Whoa!" And then, no, I think it was either calling or like on AIM chat. And he's like, "I'm talking to Mark's dad on the internet now." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Right.
This is nuts."
I remember.
But
so
then you
our-
couldn't use the phone because we were talking on the internet. So
I remember our dad enjoyed building computers, so each one of us had a desktop computer, which was unusual back then.
Yeah.
And me and Neil were on AIM at the same time, and then all our high school friends were like, "How are you doing that? Like, you guys have 2 different computers?" We're like, "Yeah, we have our own computer."
yeah, people thought we were balling, but it's like our dad just built computers out of spare parts. So,
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But yeah, I mean, this totally changes the way you could do especially if you're like long distance. You know, like if you're a long distance oriented person, this was like must be a luxury for you, Mark, if you had all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure though, right? Because it's one of those things where you learn a lot without having like video access or constant phone access. It's like being restricted in terms of communication. I think that actually kind of helped because it made everything more valuable.
Oh, true. Your time. Your time were valuable.
But again, like you said, it's not an everyone thing. It's not like you just have to have that kind of personality. And I think we just lucked out.
See, wait, 12 years of long distance?
12, yeah, wait, hold on. Okay, so we met in 2003. We got married.
Fuck. But you started.
Now your wife's going to come in with the belt.
You're such a bad Asian.
Your mom's going to come in too.
Okay, I will reiterate that she also forgets our wedding. So it's not just me. It's just like for us, like the wedding.
You have kids.
Oh yeah, don't even. I don't know.
But the good thing is though, it's mutual because when you forget, it's like we both forgot, so it's fine. Like you forget.
Wait, you forgot
anniversaries, wedding, all the time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, for us, it's like essentially we've had like an 18-year relationship, right?
Yeah.
Relationship in the broadest sense. So everything is kind of like, yeah, we've done shit, right? Like the only date we actually remember is the day we actually started dating. That's the number one date that we celebrate. Everything else after that, just because we've been together for so long, is kind of like, cool, another date. But this is the one that's important. Also, I have fucking terrible memory.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. And it, actually, to be honest, going back to it, the 2 that I had long distance, and one of them is my wife. It was like that was hard doing that. But so the 2 that I had, they both started when we were together, and then we went long distance. So I think that has a big factor too.
Right.
Because you were always used to your wife, who was not your wife back then, but you guys were always long distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for me, it was really rough being together all the time, and then now you're just separated.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah,
I think that probably comes into a big play too.
Yep. That's also why I try to like get remote work so much. I'm like, I want more time with my wife. I don't want to, what am I doing driving like an extra 40 minutes for a job? Like, I don't give a shit about the job. I just have to have it. I want more time with my wife. So I'm going to go optimize for work from home because I can't quit yet. But yeah. Sorry, what did you ask me a question before? I forget.
I don't know. I can't remember. I said, no, I think I was asking like 12 years long distance. I'm like,
yeah.
Neil, I'd like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, that would not. Yeah, and I know I said like for me it probably would matter if you started it that way or it wasn't.
Yeah,
but for me, 12 years, no. Like 12 years long distance, whatever way,
right?
Wouldn't work for me. I know that for sure.
Nope.
You guys really, really gel well.
Yeah, dude. Like I had a high school girlfriend, and I went to college, and I only went to Hampton, right? So it was like Virginia Beach to Hampton. I still broke up. I was like, oh.
Look, you know the distance. It's the Hampton Road, the HRBT, Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. It's a long bridge to cross.
I don't think this is gonna work. And it was like
You're
the
Virginia
online
Beach, I'm in Hampton.
right. I'm just like, how are we gonna see each other? You know?
She was like, you just drive over.
You know, just like, I don't know. Because that was before I had a car, right? So like I didn't get a car until a little bit later.
Okay.
And then you couldn't have
That's
a car
something.
on campus at Hampton, like unless you
Oh,
were a
really?
sophomore or above. Yeah, freshmen
okay,
couldn't
okay.
have
It
cars.
was the
I
same thing at
remember that.
UVA.
Yeah,
That's so weird.
And she didn't have a car, so it's not like it's like her mom would like bring her mom like to college so we could like
college
hang out, So and then like today's online dating thing, it's so weird. Like if I see somebody that's greater than 9 miles away, that is like a serious factor. I'm like,
You got scars, man.
yeah, I'm like, I don't
Lingering
know,
scars.
9 miles. It's like a whole 10 minutes away, dude. I don't know if I could do
A
that.
whole 10 minutes.
I don't know if I could do that, man.
I gotta load the car up.
You guys
if it's in
can
the
both
winter,
drive
too.
and meet up, right?
Right. So
True.
this is dating. I think all you guys are in relationships, but dating is just super hard because like on a kind of different tangent, everybody, as soon as they start talking to you, like I think a possessive mind state, jealousy, insecurity, and like all just those things mixed together are just like what makes online dating so hard. It's like you'll meet somebody and say you hang out a couple times and it's kind of cool, like not to go too far into like explicit, but if you like hook up, the next thing you know, they're like, oh yeah, I own you. And you're like, it's been 2 weeks. You've known me like 2 weeks. What are you talking about? Like, no. Right. And it's that's relationships on another level. I don't know.
Mark's like, you got played, son.
And it's the guy.
Got him.
That'd be horrible, man.
I do have a theory on that. I think it also stems from like, or I mean, I might be jumping, but like this idea of instant gratification, right? You grow up on a mobile
definitely.
phone. Yeah, mobile phone. Like, oh, cool, I win this game, or I can pay. I can roll a box. I get good rewards. Yeah. And then you come into relationships because guess what? Everything's a relationship. That little phone you're holding, you're developing a relationship, and now that's how you think the rest of the relationship should work. Right? I've been with you 2 weeks. I spend 2 seconds on a phone. I feel happy. Now. Yeah. So if you make me feel happy and I've only known you for 2 weeks, we have the best relationship because I only understand gratification.
Yeah.
Can I couple that with the female perspective of the dating world?
Please
I hated the dating world because, at least from my perspective, it was the same 5 guys on those dating apps. Literally, and in every different app, it's the same 5 dudes. And I'm like,
still laugh about the one that you came across.
Which one?
Someone that we both knew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I came across his old roommate in college. And it was
and
like
of all the roommates I've had, the worst roommate.
The worst one.
Oh no.
And he we match each other just so we could talk to each other. And like in my mind, so he had a reputation of being really frugal, and he never like helped out with groceries. And it was to the point
like
where
frugal
like
in the worst way.
Yeah.
I don't think that's frugal. I think
Yeah, that's
Not
something
frugal
else.
in a good way. Frugal, selfish. Frugal in a bad way. Yeah.
it was to the point where like Neil was in a larger apartment with 5 dudes. It was to the point where the guys were putting like a graph on the refrigerator and like checking by their name, like who bought groceries, and like this person's like row
Just
was
for him
always
to realize
empty.
that he doesn't do anything. Anyway, that's another
What
story.
the hell? Was this an all Asian household or
No,
something?
it wasn't.
No.
I was the only Asian, actually.
That's crazy. 'Cause I
Yeah.
know our roommates, we would just like curse each other out and get in arguments. Like, dude, why are you eating my Cheetos? Like, we literally got
No, and that's the thing. Like everyone gelled well, except for it's like if you like even us, we were like, if you get some of my stuff, I get some. It's all right. But he was on another level. It was what do you
Guys are
call it?
just
Let me
smart.
look at this. Parasitic. He
That's
was
some
like,
smart
parasite.
stuff.
There we go.
There you go. So we were all kind of like mutualism, and he was the parasitic dude, just
That
getting
is
us. So yeah,
crazy.
we just did stuff to, alert him that
You
there's
guys
some
made a
weird stuff
graph
going
of
on
your
here.
grocery
Yeah.
contributions. That is, I wish I had
grocery chores,
should have made an
cleaning,
app, man.
everything. Yeah. We should have made
Dude,
an
he
app.
probably looked at that and was like, yes.
Nice. I did well.
I'm
I did good
winning
this
in
week.
life.
I didn't do anything.
I didn't buy anything. These
Anyway,
suckers,
when
they got
we were-
played.
That's
Go ahead,
funny,
Dana.
man.
Sorry.
bad.
Anyway, when we were messaging each other, he was like, "Oh, like how's Danilo doing?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm still expecting those groceries, man. 10 years later. But yeah, anyway, like my perspective is like from the girl side, like when I ask my boyfriend about like how it's like, he's like, there's so many girls, like you never see the same one twice. And it's like, to them, it's like a buffet. And it's like, for us girls, like we have such limited choices, and for guys it's like so many girls to choose from. And it's like for us, we constantly get played of like, like you're dating, you're hooking up, whatever, and it's like, well, where's this going? And they waste so much of your time because they're like juggling all these girls. So I think that's where she's coming from, where she's like, I just want one dude to be like straight up with me, to be like, I'm not like, dipping my toes in every different pool. Like I'm like I'm like interested in you, and I'm gonna like keep talking to you and blah blah blah. And maybe she's coming from there, where she might have like had someone wasting her time.
Yeah, it might have been
Yeah,
so
no,
bad where now
definitely,
for her it's like 2 weeks.
That's her. That's
That's
her.
her window.
That's her
I've gone through
boundary.
so much
Yeah.
BS by now.
Because I know a lot of girls where they're like, we like dated for 3 months. We did all the
Right.
boyfriend girlfriend things, but he did
And then
not want to
nothing came
put.
out of it.
He did
Yeah.
not want to put a label on it. Like we were doing all the boyfriend girlfriend things. We're traveling, like, but he still was wasting my time, and it was 3 months I couldn't get back. So it's like,
yeah.
so I think that's the girl perspective. We get that a lot from guys that are like non-committal, that like they get the buffet of girls that, like they don't have to commit because they could just be, they could just be
Right.
the bachelor. So maybe that's like her boundary, like the 2-week thing.
And I definitely get that, right? Because like I've learned just through my experience over the last few years to be transparent up front, right? Like if I'm feeling like I don't want a relationship, then I say that, right?
Yep.
And I say, okay, like I'm telling you that's not what I want, and so don't think that I'm gonna change my mind because you're awesome, right? Like I might change my mind, but I doubt it. But
Yep.
nothing you do will change my mind. It's just how I feel right now. Like right now I'm selfish. And if you can deal with that, because you run into women that are that way too, right?
Mhm.
They just want somebody to take them out and spend money on them or do whatever. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I think the lack of transparency with the online dating is the problem. Because like you said, you got guys that are really just trying to hook up, but they don't understand that girls like to hook up too. So they think they have to like spin this web of deception to get to that point, when all they have to do is just be honest.
Yep.
Look how nice my background is.
What?
Man, I'm lucky because I never went through that. Like we've been together for, man, like 13, 14 years. So I never dabbled in the digital world, so to say.
It sucks. I hate it.
It does suck.
It's the worst.
It's like a foreign thing.
Does
Like,
suck.
cause it's crazy because like all my colleagues, friends that are kind of our age, it's always talked about, right? Dating and dating now is what you guys are describing. And for me, I feel just out of the loop because I have no idea, like literally no idea. Like I don't even know. I know Tinder. Like I don't know any of the apps or what the process is.
You
So
don't
anyway,
want to.
it's like
It sucks.
yeah, so it's crazy. It's like a foreign thing. It's like another level of relationship right there.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Mark's probably the same. I didn't want to speak for you.
No,
I mean, whatever you do, man. But
no. But it was funny because like people were saying like swipe left, swipe right. I'm sitting there in the corner like, the fuck is everyone talking about? What? Is there a new like thing on the phone that you can do?
But it's funny too, because it's like every guy that I've been with in the past, I would have never swiped right for them if I saw their photo online. Like they don't photograph well. Like I'm attracted to someone by their personality, and automatically I'm having to choose people by the appearance that they put on a phone.
Right.
And like you said, Mike, like you don't know if that's like illusions.
You don't know if that's true.
You don't know if that's how they really look. So already you're setting up for like, you're meeting a lot of weird people that it's like, oh, it's not what your picture looks like.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Oh, good.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, what I was gonna say too is that like I felt that way because Neil and Mark know I got out of like a 7-year relationship when I hit 30. So I started the digital dating game later. And I feel like the like dating app hookup culture is a very like the vibe is very young. And like the way I met people was just in person. So it was just a weird culture shift of like figuring that out. And also like there's so much ghosting and all this like shady shit that
Right.
happens
right.
in
Right.
like
Yeah.
Exactly.
dating apps.
Yeah.
It's
Like
so
my-
easy to behind the screen. You can just do that. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
can ghost someone. You can like BS
yeah.
their time. Like
Yep.
some real life person's valuable time means nothing to you because it's behind the screen.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
it's so disrespected, like the boundaries and respect for people's time. And there are people who are seriously looking for something, and
Right.
you're just
Exactly.
throwing their life away.
Yep.
You know that. Yeah,
The trolling
I'm
that you
glad I didn't
see,
have to do it.
the trolling you see on YouTube, imagine doing that with someone you're dating.
Like that's somebody you're trying to
Exactly.
make a life with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That person that's like, where's my video? It's like you're like, imagine doing that with someone you're trying to have a relationship with.
Yep.
Or a
And then you
date or
post and
whatever.
you're like, that sucked. That was terrible. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Can you leave reviews on people?
Oh, can you?
That'd be, hey, that's a dating app idea.
Yo, cut.
No.
Ah!
Whoa.
You're gonna have to blank that out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
That's
Like
a
Lyft,
good one.
Uber. I mean, come on.
Right.
Yeah,
There's
that's
got to
true.
be something. Like if someone's got like 200 negative reviews, then you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
nope.
Right.
move on. That's like, why don't they have that?
Yeah.
They
Can
have that
I-
on alternative lifestyle dating apps. Like alternative, like
Grinder and
polyamorous
Oh.
relationships, right?
Okay.
So they have it on those, like where it'll be like, yes, this couple is legit, right? But it's not an actual rating system. I think that would be that's a good idea.
verification.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah,
a star. 5-star.
yeah. Because some people just put that. Hey, it's just like every other. Yeah. Hey, I'm here to do this. I'm going to do that. But then they don't return calls. They don't, respond to messages or whatever. So,
Was it y'all who was talking about there was like a swinger party and they called it there was like an ad for a book club, and apparently that's like secret code for swinger party, and like this person went to the book club and then there was a swinger party.
They read the book and everything.
Yeah. Oh, no, I guess it wasn't us, but yeah, I heard that story. Yeah, sorry, it just
They were
reminded me of
probably
that.
like nervous because they didn't read all of it and they didn't want to be called out. Like, dang, I hope they don't call me out on this one chapter. And then they show up.
Like, wait,
Oh my god.
no, I haven't heard of that.
yeah, I guess it wasn't us who talked about it. I forget who said that. I know I didn't make it up. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe I did.
I mean,
Yeah.
doesn't sound too far fetched to me.
Yeah, not at all. Not
Because
at
it
all.
is. I know it's one of those like taboo things for sure. So I wouldn't.
Going back to sorry.
No, I was gonna go ahead. I was just gonna ramble. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say like the review system is really a good idea, but also I thought of like why don't they have background checks and like flagging when people are like sexual predators too, just for the women, because it's like anyone can get on those apps. Even like I read a story how like there was a 16-year-old that posed as an 18-year-old, and like this guy like hooked up with her and didn't know that she was underage. It's like stuff like that where I wish there was a little bit more like filtering in those apps.
I mean, they do
Or
some of them
background
do the
checks.
thing where you do the picture or something like that. But I think the adoption rate would suffer if somebody had to do a lot of verification. I don't know about Match.com or Christian Mingle or something like that, right? Like, I don't know what their verification process is, but I doubt many people would sign up if they had to, because, a lot of people are in a relationship still and they're acting like they're not, right? So
yeah.
like to have to, maybe my wife might find out that I'm signing up for this because it might come in the mail and verify my license or some shit. That might, I doubt a lot of people, it's a good idea, but
like safety wise, I think that's important, at least on the female side, like just having a background check. Because for me, when I was in the
Well,
dating
actually,
world,
wouldn't it filter those people out then too?
yeah.
Right?
What do you mean?
Like because you don't want the person who's in another relationship. So
Oh, I
think
mean,
maybe.
that's not a
would.
crime though, right?
You
No,
saying
no,
it's
it's
a
not a crime, but that's not what you want at the end of the
Right.
day.
You're
That's
saying
true.
it's a deterrent for
Yeah,
those
so
kind of
maybe
people.
that
to
deterrent
decide.
that's
is a good
true.
thing that less people are
That's a good
signing up
point.
for it. It's only the
Yeah.
people who really want a relationship that I will give you my ID and everything to verify my
Yeah.
background.
That's a good point.
I think
Yeah.
I think y'all are onto something. I think you should keep going with it.
But not on a recorded podcast. But no, I do actually really like that idea. I mean, like, okay, if we go into relationships as investment of time, you do personal identification for investing your money. So
I mean,
Yeah.
like, I have to buy a graphics card. Like, I have to verify that I'm a real person. You know, like,
you guys read the puzzle. I am not a robot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, for me, when I was in the single like dating world, I had to Google every person I was going on a date with because I just, for my comfort, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't someone crazy that I was meeting up with. Because like for girls, it's like
Yeah.
we have to think about our safety. And then I would put on my phone location and tell my best friend like, oh, I'm going here at this time. Like, if you don't see me move or you see me moving here, like call the cops or something. But like, we really have to do that. But it's like, I wish they had like a, like a background check, criminal background check or something, just to make it a little bit safer for us.
So they actually do have that. I don't know. There's this company called NSA. I don't know if you heard of them, but they got the checks on you. Person.
Is it public?
Oh no, it's a joke.
No, it's a joke. The national security.
National security.
I know.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, dudes have to do a part of that too, right? Like, if I match with someone and they seem too eager to meet, or
it could be a
something,
setup they're gonna bug you or something
exactly.
like that.
So I definitely say, hey, here's a picture of this person. Here's the phone number I'm texting. Here's the address I'm going to. My brother lives next door. I'm like, if I don't give you a thumbs up emoji in an hour, call the cops or something, right? Because dudes get robbed too. They're not going to get maybe physically attacked, but you could
have been catfished by someone and you could still get attacked
exactly
too.
totally.
Yeah.
You could have some dudes like jump you when you get
exactly
there.
exactly.
It's like what happens on Craigslist too. People get jumped.
Yeah. But I feel like women definitely carried the much bigger burden on them.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Sure.
But yeah, the verification stuff is actually.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Star rating.
My brain is like starting to deviate. Like, how do I build this?
Yeah. But is there any more topics? I think we're 2.5 hours in now, right?
Yeah, I think that covered it.
So much for 40 fucking minutes.
Good job, Mark.
So I can maybe this is just what we do. Maybe that's it. Maybe this is what this is.
Yeah,
like,
no pressure.
Just hanging out, and you can cut it if you want. Do whatever, man.
That's what I was gonna say. Like 3 episodes or something in there.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't know. I just enjoy it. So right now, this is mainly for me. Like, I enjoy talking with y'all about these types of stuff because I mean, we've never done it before, and everyone's like really interested. I tried to do the 40 thing because it actually got to the point to where now it started feeling more like a job. So now I'm like, okay, we need to scope it to 40 because more people will probably watch it, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm starting to do it for everyone else. But then, doing this actually with you guys, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I want to do it for myself. Fuck these people.
Right. Maybe that's why that Clubhouse app, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe the only thing I don't like about the Clubhouse is I don't know if it's recorded, one. And then two, I don't know if it was recorded, who would own it, right? It would probably be owned by the Clubhouse people. Of course, for Quan's calling.
Yeah. So do you guys know what Clubhouse is? Nope. So basically it's an app that you can start and it's audio only. And you can talk to each other like a podcast, and then people can actually join randomly. It's like an open chat room. So you got people like celebrities joining in. There was like one guy who I follow on Twitter. He's kind of like a big name in the tech industry. And he was like, here's my Clubhouse. You want to talk? Just come join. I was like, Jesus, that's crazy. But it's iPhone only. So sad face.
Oh.
I'm an Android user.
So you can't upload it on your own platforms. It has to be on Clubhouse. Is that how it works?
I think so. I think it's just like a social chat room kind of deal. I think. But it would be like if we're just having this conversation, then random people could just jump in and join. it would just be nice if it could be recorded. That would be all. And then you could just use that for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of also just starting to live stream these on YouTube. That might actually make it
I think
really
that's a good point.
That is a good
It'll
idea.
easy.
Cut down the editing.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what
It
I'm trying
definitely
to do.
does. Like you literally just press record and then stop, and that's it.
Yep.
And you could even, if you want to, at the end, you can edit it. You can cut clips out if you want to.
Yeah, because I know you
But
can
yeah.
make them private too. So
You can make them private,
Yeah.
and then you can clip out, certain timestamps if you want. So that's definitely the easiest route to just live stream it.
Yeah,
My
because
last,
I mean,
go ahead.
no, it was just like
I was just saying, my last thing I'll say about relationships, I don't know if you guys do the zodiac thing, but I don't use it as like it's not like concrete, but generally speaking, like if I know when somebody says, "Oh yeah, I'm an Aries," nothing against Aries if there's any in here. I'm just like, I know I'm not gonna get along with you in a romantic relationship because you like to go out and adventure. You like to be what's the word when you're like impulsive and kind of just do things at the spur of the moment, right? And I'm not like that. I don't want that. So and it seems like every single one that I meet, it's not like
It's an Aries.
yeah. Right? I was just like, oh my gosh. So
what's your sign, Mike?
I'm a Cancer.
Oh, okay. You got 3 Cancers on here and a Taurus.
Oh, okay.
wait, who's a
Cool.
Taurus?
You're the
You.
Taurus.
Oh no, I'm a Pisces.
Oh, I mean Pisces. Sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
you're
okay.
Pisces. So we got water signs here.
Yeah, this is all.
So
Maybe
you're
that's why we
Cancer
can
then?
talk so long.
Yeah, me and Neil are Cancer.
Oh wow.
Wait,
Nice.
Cancers is a water thingy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't know what
we're
to
real
call it.
water.
yeah.
I
We
did
are
not know.
the water sign.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it'll be like, I notice I have the same kind of relationships with Virgos and they of course know nothing about each other. And then, of course, maybe I'm just seeing it myself because it's my perspective and that's what I'm looking for. But it just seems like I don't get along with certain types and I do get along very well with others. Right. And so I don't know. We could talk about
get
that another
that.
time.
It's like water and earth signs get
Yes,
along well
exactly.
because earth is like really down to earth.
Right.
Water signs are like deep.
Yep.
And then fire signs are all like fiery, like dramatic. And I get that too. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not into that. And then air signs are more like slippery. Like they don't want to like,
Right.
they're just
They're
always
just all
like,
over the place. They flow
yeah.
like with air. It's like
Wait,
somebody,
there's elements to the sign?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Mark. I don't know, man.
Where the hell have you been? So yeah, like how I take it is like earth and water make beautiful mud together.
Mhm.
Fire and air create like a bonfire, like
Yeah,
a
they
wild,
do.
exciting, passionate
Oh my
bonfire. And when you think about it in that way, like water and fire, either the water is going to put out the fire or the fire is going to boil the water. Right.
Mhm.
Like that's the
Yep.
only way that I could think about that. And then same thing with like, and so in it, I don't want to say it's science, but it feels like
It really does feel like, yeah, it really, like when, Mark, when you were saying that you had a 12-year relationship, I was like, it's because you're a Pisces. Like,
I have
it's
heard that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have that, like,
Neil's
that-
like, what are you guys talking about?
That's crazy.
but if
I
you're
need to
more
look
of like an
into this.
Aries or a Sagittarius, like that would not work.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
right.
So
they're too crazy.
yeah, like I remember
What is
I
a
used to
Cancer
just-
then? Like, what does that
We're-
do?
For a water sign. So Cancers are more like, they're just like their sign is like the crab. So we have like a hard shell, but we're like soft on the inside. So basically we come off real hard, but like we're actually really deep and emotional. And they're
Yeah.
known to be like the motherly type signs. Like we're very giving
Mm.
people.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then Pisces, they're also emotional, but they're more like hippie. Like they have like that hippie vibe. They're like the artistic people, which is kind of weird because that's not you at
That's
all,
not
Mark.
Mark.
He's artistic in a computer brain.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
He's
yeah.
artistic in the most technical way.
Yeah.
The most technical square way. He's artistic in that way.
Well, I mean, I actually do that, right? Because here I am trying to relate a cup as a relationship. Right?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Well, it's
Right.
funny because that is actually really true. Like you just having all these conversations lately that I've had with you, Mark, you and me are two totally different, like the way we think, the way we whatever, totally
Mhm.
different people. But at the bottom of it, I see when you have the things you need, that I would never use a whiteboard. I would never write things down like in a flow diet. Like I would never do that. But when you have all your tools, you're going at it, and you look like an artist, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like when you
I
have
agree.
your flow going, so that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
so I'm
so
actually
you are
working.
artistic just in a technical way, I think.
Yeah, I'm working on this paper that I'm probably never going to write, but it's about how coding and engineering is actually an art form a lot more than people realize.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
because
Yeah.
not.
I honestly wouldn't think of it that way. I wouldn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you're like a technical person, and for me,
yeah,
because me and Dana were like the traditional arts, instruments, dance, theater, stuff like that.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
for me. I'm like, oh, that's what art is.
Hmm.
So it's hard because then I'm also an
Creativity.
engineer in my job, and I see my engineering work as just technical. Like I don't see it
Yep.
Mhm.
really as an art. And it's designing buildings, which is kind of an art, but I don't see it that way. So like, but you're an artsy person, but you know about your craft, and that you apply your art that way. So I've never seen that. That's crazy to me. That yeah, it's an art. You can have your own art form. You know, you
Yeah,
can have whatever you do as your art form.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
doesn't have
really
to
weird
just be
because
the traditional.
like for me, code analysis too is kind of like storytelling. That's how I've been interpreting. That's why I really want to
Mhm.
write this paper, because it's just like, okay, like the way the code is written has a history to it. So now it kind of reads like a literature book as opposed to just like technical code. But it's like this weird offset of thinking that isn't really dominant in computer science, just because it's like logic reasoning type deal, right? But yeah, I guess that's the Pisces in me, because
Are you
Yeah.
like the hippie of like the tech world? Is that like what that is? Like these guys, man, freaking
I
bums,
mean,
I
hippies.
I guess I don't know. That's the thing. I don't talk to people about it because like I just know, because to them it's like code is code, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh man, like this is a story to me. Like
right. Yeah.
so
Because
entertaining.
the way you relate life and coding together is
Mhm.
definitely maybe it's the hippie thing, because
Yeah,
hippies are
maybe.
sometimes like kind of out there in left field, like they're off the beaten trail or
Right.
whatever, and think about it that way. But I definitely agree with coding being an art form, right? Because you can have elegant code, you can have precise code, you could have and it's writing at the same time, right? And
Yep.
you can do it a million different ways. It just
Hmm.
depends on whoever's writing it.
Yep.
That's
How
how
you're
they
gonna
how they
express it? Yeah.
yeah, how they built
Yeah.
it up. That's how it
Exactly.
is.
Hmm.
Yep. So it definitely tells a story. It's almost like a tree, kind of, if you were to
Yeah.
look at. Yeah.
And that
Yeah, that's
applies
crazy.
to everything. I like in my mind, it's all like that. Like you're in a director position. The people who are, I guess, like carrying out your order. I actually want to talk to you about what a director does because I don't know. But essentially, you're directing people, and the way they act is kind of like a reflection of you, right? Because
Mhm.
they're executing on your command. So that in itself is a story. Neil, you're building buildings. That is a reflection of how you perceive it. So that in itself is art form. And like being able to see those relationships, it's like,
I agree with Neil though, where I look at my job as just a technical thing where I just follow what people say and like what
yeah,
the CEO wants and I just do it. I think you have a more like philosophical way of applying your um your job, I guess.
Hmm.
Like you actually have creativity, like you apply creativity to it. Rather for me it's like, oh, this is what they want, I'll just give it to them kind of thing.
Yep.
yeah.
And then
It's really weird for me because I actually suck at drawing and art. Like I just can't. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
yeah,
For me, that was like the only like a technical thing that could jive well with me because I always drew and stuff when I was a kid. So I'm like, all right, design buildings, like that makes sense as an engineer.
yep,
But
Yeah.
still I see it as you have like boundaries in your, people don't just draw up a building and it comes to life. You have your set parameters, so many
Right.
parameters that's why when you look outside, buildings look the same for the most part because it's a formula. It's more of
yeah,
formula. There's art in architecture for sure, but
Yeah.
but there's a very big formula, and I guess yeah, I can see it that way when you're talking about purely architecture and stuff, but I'm not
Yeah.
seeing it totally in my day job, I guess.
And
oh
I would
yeah,
say, like graphic design, to me, when I was doing that was the closest thing to the merging of science and art that I had seen, right? Because when you're doing graphic design, it's just like you said, Neil, there's a formula. You have the golden rule, you have, your proportions, you have weight, balance, and all of these things. And all of those are kind of like scientific concepts, but you apply them to art. So that was when I was doing graphic design, that's when I really felt like I had finally reached my perfect point. But then I wanted more money, so then that's why I started.
Well, now you can with NFTs.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, all right.
Nice.
Are we done? What are we doing?
Yeah, guys.
Yeah, I think this is it. It was a pretty long one. So
That was cool to learn that we were all water signs.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I'm gonna Google what that is after this.
yeah, I got a lot of stuff to
To
do.
Google love languages too, Neil.
Yeah, man, we gotta get you up to speed, dude.
Yeah. Me and my wife have a lot of catching up to do. It's like 14, 15 years was all a sham.
Who are you?
How did we not see this? Who are you?
Oh yeah, like now you're aware of it. Now you're gonna be like critically thinking about it all the time.
Mark's mom's gonna tell him in like a few months, like Neil's getting a divorce. He's gonna be, oh, shit.
Dang. Yeah.
Wait, what's her birthday? What sign?
Oh yeah, what is she? She's November
think she's
23rd.
I think she's a Scorpio, which
Yeah,
is the perfect. It's the
Oh, really?
perfect sign for
That's
Cancer.
one of the perfects. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And John, my boyfriend's a
Wow,
Scorpio too, which is
y'all
why.
are right. Like,
What's September 25?
this.
Oh, she's a Libra. Vicky's a Libra.
Oh, okay. So
Interesting.
that's no. But you said that you like to do
You
things.
said 15 years, right? 16th year.
What is
Wait till
going
next
on?
year.
You said you like to do things. You like to be active. You like to
Me?
experience. No, Neil. And
Oh.
if she's a Libra, then
No,
Libras are.
My wife is a Libra.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Cancel that. So no, I don't know how Pisces and Libra will work. But it could be, because I know my kid's mom is a Libra, and while we're great when we don't have expectations of each other. That's the best way I can put it in a simple sentence. When it's like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you thinking the way you're thinking? Why are you doing this? When you start questioning what the other person is doing, instead of just allowing them to live their life in the way that they see fit, that's where it kind of it deviates hard. But when I just want to have fun and I want to like party and I just want to let loose and be that air kind of sign.
Yeah, they're really flighty type of people. They can't sit down.
Yeah, Libra's air.
Dude, in my mind it's like a book. Like is that not what? No, oh, it's a scale. I guess I don't know. No, what Libra, you said actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, Libra, just like the scale, it's like they're all about justice and balance, but they're also very flighty people too. They're very flirtatious. They're known to be very flirtatious
and social. Yeah,
social. They're like, ooh, I have a boyfriend, but it's like, ooh, let me flirt with this person. Like they're very flighty people.
Look at Mark's face.
I don't think Vicky's like that.
This is September.
We talk for like 40.
This is September.
Yeah,
the flighty person. Oh wow,
yeah.
That makes sense.
September. He said 25th, but then you start getting into. There's other things like when you're on the edge of the scale, right? Like things overflow and the ranges overlap, right? So, kind of like I'm on a closer side. They call it being on the cusp. I'm on a closer side to like Leo, right? So Leo is fire, so
there's July.
Yeah, late. I'm July 21st, and I think Leo starts on the 22nd or the 23rd.
So me and Neil are Gemini cusps.
Oh, okay. Yep. So twins, right? The Gemini twins. You guys are the Gemini twins.
Neil, are you as lost as I am, bro?
Yeah, I don't.
It's a thing though. You should like really look into it, because you'll notice that there's a lot of situations where it's like, oh, maybe that's why they act like that, or maybe that's why they do the things.
I was gonna say it's probably. I'm gonna say I didn't look this up, so I'm gonna say it's my placebo effect right now. But now that you guys mentioned this about the Septembers, I've had 2 September relationships, and they both were like that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything right now. First.
Man, there's a bunch of people here feeling judged and shit. Like, hey, you don't know me.
I know I'm a
Who are watching, who are going.
I remember hearing I'm a
assuming
Cancer. I just don't remember because I think you said that before that we're Cancers, but I don't know what that means. Oops.
So I know both because we're born like a minute apart, so we're probably the same placements. Mike, do you know like the placements, like the moon and the ascendant?
See, yeah, I haven't gotten that far
Okay.
into all that stuff, but I knew there's like, yeah, there's your moon, your sun, and your landing or whatever the hell else
Your
is called.
ascendant, yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different parts of you. But yeah.
Yeah, so me and Neil our sun, our identity is Cancer. Our moon, the way we express our feelings is also Cancer. And the way we come off to people is Capricorn.
Oh.
So that's our ascendant. So when we like first meet people, we come off like Capricorns, like we're very like hardworking, kind of like down to earth people, but really on the inside we're like double Cancers.
All my best relationships have been with Capricorns, like my romantic ones. All of the major life-changing ones, every single one was a Capricorn. And there was one time where like over last summer, I dated like 4 Capricorns and they were all named Christy. It was crazy.
It's the same person, but like
exactly.
different
It's like maybe it was like some law of attraction shit, right? Like, because I met the first one and I was like, that was like one of the greatest relationships I've ever had. And then so after we like kind of broke up for a little bit, that's what I was looking for, and that's kind of like what I was attracting. And it's just like back to back to back, Christie's, Capricorns. It was crazy.
Where are you going, like, Christy? Oh, I'm gonna meet this one dude, Mike, again. I'm totally playing.
You gotta play, dude. You gotta play, bro.
The same dude, yeah. I got 4 different faces.
I wish we could like have an animator, right? Like you could draw that. That'd be hilarious.
I know, right? Yeah.
We can.
Yeah. It'd be cool to animate these two. That'd be really funny.
You can give it to an editor, see what they do.
Oh, that's true. What is that website?
But it costs a lot.
No, there's a website where you can hire. Is it Fiverr?
Fiverr.
Yeah.
Fiverr.
But
yeah.
you could hire the $5 guy and see what he does with it. It's funny because on YouTube they like rate. They're like, I gave my work to like a $5 guy
versus a $500 professional.
And sometimes a $5 guy does a really good job.
So,
Vicky, do it. Have your wife do it.
I don't think
she draws and stuff.
Yeah, art, but I don't think she's good with a digital.
Same thing.
I don't know, maybe. But no, they charge by the minute, not minute, but like minute increments.
Oh.
So we're at like 3 hours. So.
Oh wait.
Oh, maybe they charge
Zoom?
per minute of animation.
On Fiverr.
On their product.
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, Mark, what the hell?
No, to work on the product.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, because I mean, I was thinking that too. It's like to make like actual animations behind all this. That'd be pretty dope. Be pretty funny.
Yeah, that would be.
But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So we got takeaways. You guys look up some love languages and and zodiac signs. Yeah.
Yep.
I know, man. I got an app to build.
Yeah, 5-star star rating app.
Oh yeah.
All right, y'all. I gotta run too.
Right, bye.
Yeah.
See you
Later.
Good talking. Have a good weekend too.
Later.
See ya.